And you are watching another Blewetts Blitz film review. He has that ability to, trust me, he definitely does. Just his ability to catch balls outside of his frame, his leaping ability, his ability to hang in the air, his yak ability, it's all there. Lowers his helmet, low man wins, bang, rocks a guy.
Hall running free, Brees Hall inside the 10, he's gonna score!
The corners all do their job. You know, if you look at the picture right here, lock.
3rd and 1. Stevens always drilled. What a great defensive play.
I don't try to Monday morning quarterback any of the reviews I do, and I'll try to be honest with a lot of those things I put up. And you are listening/watching, I guess, watching/listening to another edition of Blewetts Blitz. Coming down from the high of the draft, and a lot of the free agent signings have obviously slowed down, minus some free agent signings this last week with Zay Jones and a couple of other. I'm trying to quiet the dogs in the background because that's not supposed to be happening. My brother-in-law is over with his dog, so gonna try to avoid some of that. But yeah, not a ton going on. I put out a quarterly review. I have to record. I'm about done with Isaiah Davis review. I'm done with Allen. I'm done with somebody else too, but I think at the minimum this week you're going to be getting Davis, Allen, and maybe Jordan Travis, depending on if I can work around Mother's Day a little bit. We'll see if I can get 3 reviews out this week or 1. Yeah, okay. Got to send a text to the wife for that one because that can't be happening. Obviously, Knicks fans up 2-0, looking to go up 3-0. Rangers up 3-0. So hell of a sports week for the New York Knicks and Rangers fans. I cannot say I am rooting for those teams, but with that being said, I guess I'm just a asshole Devils fan and Nets fan who doesn't want those teams to win, but nonetheless, sorry, a little bit distracted. I had to send out the text. Say hello to some people. Nania was supposed to come on, obviously, with the Knicks game. He's a diehard Knicks fan. Wasn't going to come on during the Knicks game, so I still have to do it when I have to. So 49-48 right now, 3 minutes left. Sorry for the spoiler alert if you saved it. But nonetheless, I know there's a lot of people who are watching the games. Couldn't do Nania tonight. Sabo, I didn't ask him. But do my first call-in show, so we'll do call-ins in a little bit. If anybody's going to jump in, I'll keep you in the background for at least the first 30 minutes or so. Say hello to the chat, and then do my first call-in show in probably, I don't even know, 3-4 years, and we'll see where it goes. If it's success and it builds up, then hey, we'll do it once a month. If nobody calls, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they release ticket prices pretty soon. I need to plan my trip to NJ in terms of the schedule. Yeah, I thought it was going to come out either Thursday or Friday. Obviously, it got pushed back a little bit. For me, Eagle, it's about seeing my trips. I'm trying to get to 2 stadiums this year. One of them may be a drive. It might be 2 drives, but between Minnesota, New England, and Pittsburgh are the stadiums I'm going to go to. I'm going to try to hit Minnesota. I'm going to try to hit Minnesota and New England. If I can't pull off both, maybe I'll do like New England and Pittsburgh, or Minnesota and Pittsburgh, or something like that. But I'm gonna try to get to at least 2 games, New England or Pittsburgh. I might drive. So I'm excited about the release because I want to know when my trips are coming. A lot of people are like, "Oh, who cares about the release? We're playing who we're playing. Who cares about that?" It's like, yeah, I get like not caring so much, but you want to see when the road trips are. Do they stack? I don't know, the 49ers game, and who else do they play out there? Do they play the Seahawks out there, the Cardinals? I think it's the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks are at home. So like, do they stack those trips together? When is the bye week? Who's the opener? A lot of people differ on the opener. A lot of people want like, hey, I've heard people talk about the 49ers away. Like, listen, I get wanting to like puff our chest out and wanting to dominate a top level team at first, but Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in about a year from now or at that point. So do I want his first game to be against the defending NFC champions? No, probably not. So I would personally like to start off a little bit easier. I'm not even saying it has to be, the Pats or anything like that, but a home game, whether it be a Bills situation Monday night, run it back. Whether it be a, Broncos. Some people have been talking about the Broncos this last week. Could that be a potential, spot for the Jets, considering the beef that Hackett has with Sean Payton? You have obviously Zach Wilson going over there. You have JFM going over there. So is that a potential, spot for the Jets? I personally hey, give me Denver, give me Arizona, give me Tennessee away, give me New England at home. I'm kind of feeling New England at home first game. New England in general, whether it be away or home, I'm okay with a New England away game, because I'll be going to that definitely if it's going to be the home opener. I would like to see the Jets kick their ass in front of their fans. Obviously, haven't been able to gloat in front of New England fans or anything like that. And I think if you do go there and the Jets do win and you gloat, you're probably a little bit of an ass because they've won how many rings, But still, it'd be nice to go up there with and come home with a W. So Eagle Fang says, did you hear the story about Leon Washington being fired? Rumor is he might have been one of the rats. From who? Like who is that rumor initiated from? Now, could you expect maybe former players to have a little bit looser lips? Maybe. I don't know. If he was the rat, then adios. If not, then it sucks, because it doesn't suck. It's more for nostalgia reasons, right? Like we don't know what he is as a coach, but he was one of my favorite, if not my favorite Jets running back of all time. Top of my head, it's him. You got Bilal Powell, Chris Ivory, probably are my three. A little bit young for like Curtis Martin to like really have made a true impact on me. But definitely Leon, definitely Ivory, Powell. Thomas Jones is up there for a little while. For the Jets, he dominated for he was here for 2-3 years, I think 3 years maybe. But RJ says, Joe saw a commercial the other day for diapers with blowout protection. I thought of you. The funny thing about that, RJ, and I'm not even trying to fabricate a story here, I was busy all day yesterday at work. I get home, take care of my kid, feed him. He shits on me, like through his diaper, out of his shirt on my legs. And then after that, he tried to pee on me while I was changing his diaper too. So yeah, blowout protection is nice. It's always smarter to go a size up, size too big than size down. I've learned that. Give them plenty of room to do their business. Sneakers and boots, which good, Joe. I appreciate the entertainment on a Friday night. I'm surprised. Listen, again, I know I'm streaming during a Knicks playoff game, so probably not the best time, because I know I'm not going to outbid the Knicks here, but nonetheless, I have to do it on Friday. So for the people who are kind of watching both, or even just watching later, I obviously appreciate it. Harvey, good evening, fellow Jets fans. What's up, Harvey? I don't know if I've seen you in here before, but welcome. I pinned the call-in link. We do have a caller. I'll wait a little bit just so I get to the chat. I see you in there though. I'll let you know. Again, if you want to call in, give you a couple minutes, make your points, and then we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Thank you, Eagle. Great night from Jets Talk. It's always a good night for Jets Talk. Again, I'm going to be moving around my schedule a little bit. It's going to be fluctuating. My days of the week are going to change. So it's going to be a thing where it's like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be random days. Michael Galiza? I don't know. I get to be here live for a change. What's up, Mike? I'm starting a little bit later, obviously, today. Stuff happens when you have a baby, and I got here at 8, not here at 6. So let's see. Good tomorrow. I don't know what that means, but sure. Smash LFG Jets. What time you start taking calls? Connor, I'll probably take them in like we'll see when the chat runs out. Probably 10 minutes or so. We'll start taking them. What's up to Jealous Beanbag? What is Harvey? I'm hoping to hit a game this year. I've never been to a Jets home game. I always recommend, like, if it's going to be your first outing at a Jets game, and this is maybe from me being scarred in the past, but typically I like to get people out to games first, because that's when there's still excitement. Obviously, Jets of the past, 4-10, who wants to go to that game week 16 against the Cardinals? Not many people. So I always recommend going to the home, and obviously it's going to be, knock on wood, the season's going to be good and all the games will be good to go to, but go to that first game, man. There's nothing like it. And if the first game is not like a night game, I get maybe waiting for the night game, but if that first game is a night game, if that's a Monday night like rematch against the Bills or something like that, just go. Like, it was wild last year. It still hurts. It still hurts even think about that. Just being there. I hope we play off the radar for week 1. Yeah. 1 p.m. versus the Titans, or at the Titans, 1 p.m. or I guess it would be for like 10 a.m. for us, or I guess it could be 1 too. Cardinals in New England. something like that. Again, I get wanting to kick the shit out of the Niners, but realistically, man, like newer team, newer offensive line, new with Rodgers. Like, yeah, sure. I'm not trying to be like a coward here or anything like that, but I rather, and it's not even for like, okay, I just want to win the first week. It's not even necessarily that. I want the Jets to get their bearings before they play great teams, right? Like the Jets are undoubtedly going to be a better team in week 8 than they are going to be in week 1. So let's save the tough games for later on. I'm okay with that. After a bye week, something like that. But to expect to be running at full capacity when the team hasn't really played much together and Rodgers hasn't played in a year, to go out there, away and beat the Niners. I don't know. Got Mike Blewett in New England. Can't end well. I hate Pats fans, dude. It's like I'm too old for that stuff now, Mike. I'm 31. I listen, like places like New England. You got to be a little bit more reserved. Even Pittsburgh, I'm thinking that you probably have to be a little bit more reserved. Places when I go to like LA, San Fran, Eagles, I'll be a little bit more reserved just because I'm not trying to lose my job. We are winning every game. There you go, Chris. Happy tanking, Joe. What's up? Glad you're on again. Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. My best bud's a Niners fan, so we can wait on that one. Yeah, let's wait. We are losing the Broncos game. We are due. Zach Wilson, Jared Stidham. Who they just draft? What the hell is the guy? Bo Nix. Bo Nix. We're gonna lose a game to the Broncos. Bo Nix. A tune-up fight to get us in shape for sure, dude. Exactly. What an unsung hero, Curtis Martin. Yeah, Curtis Martin, though, I was like, well, his heyday was, early 2000s. I was 8, 9, 10 years old. So, like, yeah, I liked him, but I didn't appreciate his greatness or anything like that. They have to be a little bit more in my prime of watching, I guess. I don't know. When the boxers of the diapers say 18 to 20 lives, they don't hold near that much poop. I saw you on the Jake. Oh, cool. Okay. Thank you, Harvey. I appreciate you. Dude, if I can go on a show and pull up one, obviously just do it for favors as well. But if I can get one listener, that's great. Hey, Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Okay. I've never shot a gun. What is a gun? I can't go through that. Yeah. Dude, like Sneakers and Boots. I don't know if you watched that. That podcast after it happened, and I was in Dallas. Like that was. I'm not trying to be funny here. Like that was a bottom 5 moment in my life, and like it surpasses some grandparents' deaths for me. Like I like that affected me pretty bad. So Zach says on Jets Twitter, and how did seeing AR throw make you feel? It's nice to see him throw, but like listen, I'm not trying to hype myself up to the point again where I was last year, at least. It'll eventually trickle in. It's May though, so I'm still holding up some barriers because anything can happen in the off season. And I'm not even gonna say the names that we don't want to go down, but you never know who can go down. Aaron Rodgers. I just let me see it happen first. Let me see it happen first. So I'm not getting excited about Twitter videos and what's the show called, like Flight 24, whatever it is. I think they've done better this year. I think they've done better this year in terms of like they're getting a little bit more deeper into certain topics instead of being a more generic type of like highlight show. So, like seeing the rookies strap up and get their helmets and the face mask and getting a little bit of a deeper dive into, like I like that stuff. Where last year it kind of just felt like a catch-all, like highlight show. So when was the last time the Jets swept the Patriots? Pop quiz for the chat. I have no idea. Connor's in the background. Connor from NY Jets Flight Talk, who's going to come on in a couple minutes. I don't know if he knows. He's in the background. He definitely wasn't alive, right? You're talking about just the last time we beat them in New England during a regular season game was 2008, right, Eagle? So Connor, if I'm not mistaken, he's 11 now. So Connor was like -5. Wild. That was the last time we even won in New England in the regular season. Oh yeah, sorry. Geez, minus last year. Minus last year. But we obviously didn't sweep them, so it has to be prior to 2008, dude. I don't know. Walls are ready. The walls are up. Yeah, it's let's see them get into the playoffs first before we start getting so excited. Connor says, "Give me Jets versus Colts week 1 p.m. Eastern time." Yeah, that's completely fine, dude. Go to Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson coming back from injury. It's a team that I think they're like a mediocre team, but should you be able to beat the Colts if you're trying to win the AFC East? Like damn straight, right? So Colts, Arizona, stuff like that for sure. We're going to be great if we get good luck on injuries. Yeah. And obviously any team can say that. Now you're going to emphasize that more with the Jets because they have more players with prior injury histories, right? So I was alive. I just forgot how long it's been. So did you ask the chat without having the answer, Eagle? Did you just ask and just say, hey, whoever figures it out, figures it out? We beat them twice in 2010, but one of those games was in the divisional round. Yeah, well, we beat them at home, right? At home and then in the divisional round. But it wasn't a sweep of the season series. So Motivate T schedule makers always screw us. This year, we'll see. Last year was relatively favorable in terms of the travel schedule for the Jets and when their bye week fell and stuff. So that I know last year wasn't actually terrible. Now we played like a top 5 hardest schedule in the league last year, So Harold says, "Let's go, Joe." Side note: Rangers and Knicks are killing it right now. Yeah, I know that. Unfortunately, I'm a Nets and a Knicks fan, or a Nets and a Devils fan. I wouldn't trade my Devils fandom for the Rangers at this point. The Rangers still got to win some rings, but I would be lying to you if I'm basically not like what is it, like Squidward in that one meme of him watching SpongeBob and Patrick run around together. That's basically me with the Knicks fans right now. If I can go back, I would change. I would, but I never will. I had some great years in the 2000s with the Nets, but dude, they are so brutal right now. It's going to be Jets versus Broncos prime time. Aaron versus Zach, JFM old team. Hey, give me that prime time. Broncos coming to MetLife. They should hopefully they blow them out, right? The energy in that stadium is going to be wild. If you're coming to a game, it's your first time, make it week 1. Eagle, make it week 1. I know Eagle's trying to come out to a game. If you've never been to a game, Eagle, make it. 2000 was the last time. Yeah. So I was 7. I was 7 years old. I'm 31 now. I think the vibe will be for Fever Pitch even stronger than last year in the first. I don't know, man. Greg, I don't know if you were there. It was wild, man. It was really wild. It has a potential. I think it could be maybe as good. I don't think it could surpass it. I don't know if anything will ever surpass that. It was pretty crazy. And then Connor, I'm going to get to you in like 2 seconds after this. Okay. Bawden can't really make this roster. Can he feel like it could be used for a much better position option? It depends. Now, the thing is you have to consider with this is the Jets are going to more power counter. So they're going to probably use I don't want to say necessarily like they're definitely going to, but they're probably going to put more, or they're going to have a little bit more snaps for fullbacks. I think last year he averaged like 6 or 8 or something like that. Let's just say 7, because I forget 7 snaps. Who replaces that? Rucker, he has the ability, but he's just very volatile. One time he's pancaking somebody, the next time it's not. He completely whiffs on a guy. And then I just finished Davis's film. If you think he should be a fullback, it's just because of alignment. He can't block in space like that. You don't want Davis as a fullback for you, at least in my opinion, based on what I watched. There's quite a few opportunities, and I was not impressed in really any of them. 13, 14 years old. Oh, yes, you're a little bit older than me. They swept them 14 different times before 2000. Yeah, unfortunately, I was not alive for those really. So, okay, we're gonna bring on our first guest and or our first call in, and probably I don't even know, Connor. It's probably been 3 or 4 years. So thank you for calling in. What's going on?
Of course, not much. How about you? Unfortunately, I'm a Nets fan too. Hiring Jordy Fernandez, I would have taken Budenholzer all day, but that's a debate for another time. I have the Rangers though, so at least they're 7-0. First time since '94, but the Jets, in terms of Jets not sweeping the Patriots until 2000, that's crazy. Thinking that I believe in 2000, Testaverde was probably their starting quarterback, and then obviously we've had a carousel of guys since then. But with the schedule, like I said, like I put in the chat, I want Colts week 1. I want a low pressure game, and I think it's very important for the Jets to, like you said, save those hard games for the end of the season, get a head start, jump out. Win the first 3-4 games, whatever it is. The Jets, they had a ton of primetime games last year. They had 2 primetime games in the first 4 weeks, week 1 and week 4. I'd like to save the primetime games for the end of the season. I want low pressure, low stakes week 1.
Yeah, you already sound like a damaged Jets fan, Connor. And you're, I think you're what? You're 11 years old, right? Or 12?
12. Yeah, 12.
You're 12. You're 12 years old, and you already sound a little bit damaged. How'd you get into I'm assuming you started to like the Nets, and they brought in like KD and Kyrie and all those guys.
Yeah, so it's like a long story how I got into the Nets. So my family, like especially my parents, they're not big basketball fans. So,
Mhm.
obviously I'm a Jets, Mets, and Rangers fan. So I was brought into those fan bases, just like
Mhm.
handed down. So I have my choice with basketball. And I'm like, at that time, none of my teams were good at all. Like when I was
Mhm.
9 years old. So I'm like, all right, I see the Nets, I see the bright lights. This is my chance to win a championship with the team. So I chose the Nets over the Knicks, and I regret it so much. It's like I'm
Yeah.
watching the Knicks play the Pacers right now and just
Mhm.
dominate with all these
Mhm.
guys, and I'm like, oh my god, I wish I chose the Knicks.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, if I can go back, I would. I
Yeah,
never will though. But it's a thing where,
same.
like, as
Yeah,
a Nets fan, man, Jets fan. Obviously, you saw the Aaron Rodgers thing. If you're a big Nets fan, a couple of years ago, obviously losing that series to the
oh
Bucks
yeah,
was just brutal, and it was literally by a big toe, and we probably win that game, and then I think next round they played the Hawks. They would have played, and I think they would have
yeah.
smacked
That's
them.
the
So
Bucks played.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was tough. But Connor, are you making it to a game this year? Have you ever made it to a Jets game?
I went to 2 games last year. I went to week 3 against the Pats, which was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And then Christmas Eve I went. I went on Christmas Eve. And that was a fun game. I think I left at the start of the fourth quarter, and we were listening it to Bob Wischusen and Marty Lyons on the call on the radio on the drive home, and I got a little scared. But that when the Jets got into that situation, it was like lose lose for Jet fans because if like Greg the Leg missed that field goal and the Jets lost that game,
Mhm.
Jet fans would have been like, "Oh my god, how'd you blow that lead?" Versus what happened when we won, Jet fans started complaining that we are lower in draft position. So it was like
Mhm.
a lose lose. But yeah, I'll definitely try to get to couple games this year. I really want to go to that Titans game in Nashville. Nashville's a city that I find that'll be really cool. But definitely try to get to a few home games. For Long Island though, it's tough for me the commute because it's like you got to leave at the start of the fourth quarter if you want to be home within
Mhm.
3.5, 4 hours. But
Mhm.
yeah, 100% gonna get to a game this season.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm gonna throw a question to you, then
Hmm.
we'll let you go. RJ MacPot asks you, what makes you think Anthony Richardson will be easy? Why do you want the Colts specifically? I think RJ MacPot might think they're going to be a little bit tougher than you, maybe.
Yeah, so RJ, I'm a big fan of Anthony Richardson. I think he's a really solid quarterback. I drafted him on my fantasy team last year. He got injured, and injuries do happen. I don't think he will be easy. I just think that's a matchup that catches my eye because it's not a team like the Bills. It's not
Mhm.
a team like the 49ers. I just threw the Colts out there, but there are some other teams like Joe, you mentioned the Cardinals, you mentioned the Titans. Like I remember some guy like jokingly, I think, put out a tweet like schedule leak Jets Titans 1 p.m. and you like
Yeah.
replied and you were like, yeah, give me that low stakes week
Oh,
1, build up for
yeah.
prime time week 2. I hate when the Jets play prime time because that entails me staying up until like 11:30 on a school night and it annoys me because I tend to like to go to sleep relatively early. But yeah, give me the 1 p.m. But the Jets they didn't have any primetime games until last year. If you really think about it, my whole life was Sunday 1 p.m. and then maybe 2 or 3 4 p.m.s every year. But yeah, just a low stakes week 1. That's all I want.
Okay, Connor, appreciate the call, and
Of
hopefully I
course.
talk to you again soon.
Yes,
We'll set something up for your show. I'm gonna go back on
definitely.
Connor's show
Yeah,
as
I'll
well.
I'll I'll message you definitely.
Awesome. All right, Connor.
See you, Joe. Have a
Connor, go check out his podcast, NY Jets Flight Talk, I believe it is. Connor, throw the link in there if you want to. I don't mind. And I should be on his show. I was on his show a couple of weeks ago before the draft, Connor, I believe. And I'll go back on there soon. So throw the link in there, Connor. We appreciate you coming on. The funny thing is about Anthony Richardson is, and this is not me being a Colts fan or anything like that. I just I collect souvenirs from whatever stadium I go to. Even though I quickly realized that having 30 different, or I guess 31 different cups is probably not going to work. I don't think my wife would love having 30 different NFL team cups in my cabinet. But yeah, I collect little souvenirs, and the Colts happen to be it. But yeah, like I said, it's not a thing where like, hey, I'm afraid of these teams or anything like that. I just want the Jets to play the best teams at their most advantageous time. Now, again, you could argue injuries and, hey, will the Jets be better in week 8 than 17? Yeah, obviously, we don't know, right? Like they could have an injury to start off the season, and then the guy is healthy by week 17, or it could be the opposite. It could be, hey, the guy's healthy all season, and then week 16 he gets injured, and you don't have him for week 17. So we could play around with all those scenarios, but in general, I want it to be a thing where we can have a little bit of a soft landing spot for week one. Again, your nerves are going. We're gonna talk about this game for how many months? 2 years ago, it being the Ravens as an opener. It's like, dude, really, like the freaking Ravens, the first game, like that's a pretty tough game to open with. And even last year, you're excited about the Jets, but it's hey, we got to play the Bills, a divisional opponent, huge game, Monday Night Football to start off the season. Like I was obviously a great result, but I was pretty nervous for a couple of, more nervous than usual the first couple of months, like thinking about that matchup and just any anticipation and all that stuff. Just give me the Pats in New England, or the Pats at home, the Broncos at home. Like Connor said, the Colts, like something. How long are you doing call-ins? For the whole show. I'll see how long we go. Usually a 2-hour window, 8 to 10. So yeah, the call-in link is to the top. Again, I'm gonna try to do this once a month. I don't think I'm gonna do it every week, just because I have Sabo and Nanya, and then surprise potential co-host number 3, who will come on hopefully in the near future. So we're gonna do this once a month. So until about 9:40 or so, I would say. Let's if my next caller is on, I don't see anything. If he's ready, he's got to give me a thumbs up. Okay, there he is. He's ready. Harold, my guy. What is up, Harold?
What's up, man? It's a long time no talk to. So actually, the last call-ins you had was 2022 before the draft. So just to refresh your memory, because we were talking about Sauce Gardner, and you and I, we were all pretty high on him. So definitely was a good pick by the Jets. Obviously, we've been proven right in that regard. I had him as the number one player I watched that year. So as far as who I liked, so definitely was my boy. He's a killer. So he was a killer in college. He's a killer in the pros. So great home run there. But just to get kind of to the current events of the day, I was really excited about watching the quarterly review that you put up. So I went through that. And yeah, definitely, like you said, a couple areas of this game that he can improve on, particularly with the catching technique. Definitely were some balls in there where at the NFL level, you got to catch those, because that's like, it could be the difference between winning and losing, to be honest. It could be, a big play in the third quarter to move the change, big play in the fourth quarter to move the change, and that catching technique he has to improve. But overall, he has the ability to make difficult catches, so that was important, because I wasn't sure if he had that based on all the scouting reports and everything. So definitely appreciate the insights into that. As far as your projection form, I know you some of the things you said were positive, strengths and weaknesses, things like that. But what do you feel as far as his potential in the offense in 2024, and then more importantly in 2025?
Yeah, and I want to hold you after that too, because I want to ask your feelings about the rest of the draft class. Because Harold, you always you are strong in your opinions in the chat, and I know it comes from a good knowledge base. So yeah, with him, like I've said, I think it's a thing where in year one you don't want to overwhelm him. I don't think you want to put too much on his plate. But you look at his successful route tree in college, and it's all over. It's overs. It's the crossers. It's drags. It's vertical, which you watch the review, like that he has a little bit more vertical ability than some people think he does. And then it's yak. So I think you stay pretty stringent to that, and you give him a pretty simple route tree with a pretty simplified role in terms of like just getting yak, and again running a relatively limited route tree, and then you build him up. Like, what do you like? People say he's limited physically, but how so? Like, being 5'11" makes him limited physically. Like, he can cut really fast. He has good acceleration. He has 4.45 speed, which it showed on film that he was relatively fast. So the first year, I think he's going to be more of like a receiver 3 gadget guy, but like what. I don't think he has a ceiling in terms of like what he could be in 2025 or 2026. So I think he's going to be like I don't know how to quantify it, but I think he's going to be worth the pick in the first, that he was drafted in this year. Limited role, 400 or 500 yards, maybe something like that, all purpose. And then in 2025, we build up and hopefully he's a stud and he's the number 2. What are your expectations for him, Harold, in the future? Because you watched the review, you said you liked him. I don't know how much you liked him prior to drafting him, but what are your thoughts? I was
a little anti-Corley, so I had to be won over. So I'm gonna be honest, I was definitely not. I was looking for more of a traditional receiver. So like Adonai Mitchell was somebody who I like quite a bit until the stuff kind of came out about the type 1. I guess it's type 1 diabetes, or that he has, and how he manages that, and how he might fit in the locker room. So I figured he probably wasn't going to be a culture fit for us. Once I started hearing that, but I talked about in the chat maybe about 3-4 months ago before you started doing your reviews. But I love Rome Odunze. Was a huge fan. Definitely. looking at him more as I got into watching as many games as I can. I don't have access to all 22, but just going through all of the offensive plays and, the targets and things like that I can find on YouTube, and really trying to study him as much as I could. I definitely was a little bit disappointed in some of the release packages and things like that and things that you highlighted in your review. So definitely I kind of made me say, okay, I still believe in the player, and I think I think he's going to be really, really good. I know you weren't as high on him. You had him below Drake London and some of those guys. I kind of had him as as good as Drake London. I think he can be. I think that as a prospect, I kind of looked at them the same. So I didn't see much of a difference there. I think Drake London was a little better release package, but I thought Rome's tracking was definitely better than Drake London and things like that. So I saw them as similar prospects overall. So I definitely think that Rome is going to have a really good career. But it kind of broke my heart when he got picked at number 9. I was heated at the Falcons because they could have traded down and got Penix at 10, in my opinion. But I know there were some rumors that allegedly that some people were calling about Penix to the Bears at 9, but I don't know how true that is. It might be, kind of CYA on that one for the Falcons.
I want to ask you one more question before you go, and I appreciate you calling in. I know you called in, but you said 2022. And the Rome versus Drake London thing it's interesting because they're very similar prospects in terms of like their composition and stuff, but it's like and you said it perfectly actually. Like London was a little bit more nuanced in his route running and his release package, stuff like that, but Rome's a better athlete, right? Like he was better contested catches, he's better vertically than Drake London. So it's like a little bit of like pick your flavor, but like in a similar ilk, I think they were in terms of prospects. Even though again I prefer London just because of the nuance of
and the projectability.
Running,
yeah, the projectability. Sure. You can project route running to the league versus, now you got to kind of, wing and a prayer almost with the, with the verticality, and can the athleticism translate with some of the rawness and things like that. So you kind of project in a little more. Whereas the Drake London, you kind of have a flaw in your evaluation. Like, hey, I know he's going to be at least this at the NFL. I mean, he's been that. I think with a little better quarterback play, he would have been, he probably would have been putting up maybe even better stats than Garrett Wilson, to be honest. So he's definitely been kind of hurt by that. But what are your questions on the draft as far as the Jets? I mean, you said a question on that.
No, I just wanted to ask because I know you're a guy who you get a little bit into the weeds of the drafts. Is there anything else that stood out about the draft for the Jets, or anything that you hated that you really liked in the rounds 3 through 7, or was it kind of just like chalk?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in all of the trade downs in the 4th round. The only one I really liked was the trade down for the extra 3rd round pick. But that trade down after that, when they had like a TJ Tampa on the board and some of the cornerbacks that I looked at and I thought were pretty good. I was a little disappointed in that. So just some of those things I thought they could have maybe picked up a development. I was glad they got Stiggers. I kind of, just in what we can see of him. I mean, I like the story. I like the athlete that he is. So I think, hopefully he can, with a year, no pressure, maybe we can develop into something down the road. But definitely that, but I definitely like the picks overall. I would have preferred a wide receiver and a trade down in round 1, but you got to go what you got, man. So I mean, I think that for what we needed as a team, getting Fashanu for the future is a great pickup. Long term, I think getting Corley again for now, and more importantly for next year, I think he's going to be more of a true number 2. I think more like a Brandon Ayuk, bring him along kind of thing. I know some people have used that comp as well. I think, Anquan Bolden, if you want to go back a little bit further, I think he could maybe develop into that type of player for us maybe down the road. So I think that's kind of what you're looking at there long term, hopefully. The running backs, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, I'm kind of like, I'm like, whatever. I'm not huge on either one of them. I think they have some talent, but I don't look at them as, A1 prospects, anything like that. Obviously, they're going to 4th and 5th round. So, if one of them can hit, I think that's what they're trying to do, trying to hopefully hit on one of them. I don't think they think both of them are studs. They think, hey, out of one of these guys, out of 2 of them, one of these guys is going to be something. So that's what they're doing. The last pick, Jalen Key, I don't know what that's about. I mean, honestly, he showed not much in college. He was a very average player. Then he was starting to his 4th year at UAB. I mean, if you can't start until your 4th year at UAB, I don't know what we're doing here on the Jets. He's one of those guys that's just hitting because he's old. You're 23, 24. I mean, of course, you're going to be better than an 18, 19-year-old. But, I mean, that was, to me, was a wasted pick. I mean, I would have rather drafted like a Leonard Taylor there. If you're going to pick him up as a UDFA, draft him in as a 7-round pick, and you get an extra year control on him if he does hit, rather than having to do something after his 3rd year. So I would have did something a little smarter like that rather than waste a pick on him. But that's it, Joe. I'll let you go. I appreciate talking to you again. Hopefully it won't be 2 more years until we speak.
Next month, Harold. We'll be
All
doing
right,
it
talk
again.
to you
So I
then.
appreciate it
All
calling.
right, take care. Go Jets.
All right, go Jets. Yeah. Seventh round pick. Thing with Key is, and it's like interesting because you hear that he didn't start until his fourth year at UAB. I guess this is his fifth year. I'm obviously only going to watch his last year, but it's like a thing where one of the kind of the upside things about him, and Harold will know this, is like the fact that he went from UAB to Bama. He was the third string, I believe, during the start of the summer, and then he becomes the second string, and then he becomes the first string, and that system asks a lot of their DBs. Like, you have to know a lot as a safety and be pretty damn smart. So, maybe something clicked. We don't know exactly why he didn't start at UAB, but that's one of the last guys I have to get to. Just finished Davis, so I got to get to Stiggers and I get to Key. Next caller, Liam. I don't know if I've ever spoke to Liam. I might have in terms of on here. I don't know if you have a different username, but I think I'm jumping on your podcast actually next week, Liam, if you're with Dan. So what's going on, my guy?
Yeah, so I just wanted to, just introduce myself, Liam. So before you come, I wanted to kind of get to know you a little bit and everything. So touching on the draft a little bit, like I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about Jaylen Key.
No, nobody does. And if they say they do, they're liars.
Right. So I'm not gonna pretend that I do. But do you think that like he has an actual shot at making the 53 this year? I mean, like he is the last draft pick, but he is a draft pick. Do you see him actually making the team?
It depends on like who else they bring in, right? Because like his only competition right now is JBC, and like what is JBC right now? So it's not like they have a bunch of studs there where I'm like, hey, there's no chance he can make the roster, because right now it's only him versus JBC. I would probably say JBC in terms of like watching him, he's a little bit more versatile. So maybe they like him more than Key is just a practice squad guy. Again, I don't love the pick just because he lacks in like any like true athleticism. There's really nothing that really stood out about him, even in the box. But again, like, dude, like if you go to Bama's system and you could pick up Nick Saban's system in 3, 4, 5 months, like that's impressive right from the jump right there. So I'm assuming that's their main reason. So yeah, I would say it's like a 50-50 shot him and JBC, but realistically, like I'd rather just sign a safety. I get that like you can't be strong everywhere, but with the safety market right now, it seems like it's a buyer's market. So could you get a Quandre Diggs for like $4 million? Like that's something I would do. How about you, Liam? Like, would you look to add a guy? Are you confident with their safety group or kind of where are you feeling like the roster? Like, kind of talking about the draft and, with Harold, like now after the draft, there's anywhere else you want to pivot to, because Zay Jones was signed, right? DJ Chark was signed. Odell was signed. So that market's getting a little bit thin. Like, so what do you think in terms of like adding to the roster?
In terms of adding to the roster, like you said, I wouldn't mind like a Diggs, or like I wouldn't mind a Justin Simmons or something. I don't think he's been signed yet.
Nope.
Yeah, so he's still available out there. I think I would really like to add a veteran running back to the group. So just like, but the two running backs in the draft kind of pissed me off a little bit. Like I knew that they were going to go with one, just because I hear that Joe Douglas has been the Jets GM. He's at least drafted one. So right off the bat, it's kind of a given that like, yeah, one is at least coming to the Jets, which I'm fine, because I mean right now like we do need the depth. It's only really, well, before the draft it was only Brees and Izzy, and who God only knows what Izzy's going to be. Do you see Izzy actually being like a bubble guy? Do you see him actually making the team this year?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. It's like, hey, if you're bringing in that running back, like I'm assuming you're going to cut Izzy, right? At that point, because he didn't prove a lot last year. Now, like the thing in college was like, and the question I had about him is when he got those big runs, like it was because of speed. Like it wasn't because he was breaking tackles and stuff like that. And like how often at the NFL level are you just able to run through wide open gaps, especially considering, offensive line last year. So I didn't love the pick from the jump. Like he had those highlight plays, but again, it wasn't very translatable. So if you're going to bring in a vet, like you're going to assume it's an Izzy cut, right? At least for, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Liam, but you'd cut Izzy.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what running backs are out there anymore. I mean, like my eye was on Elliott, but I guess like maybe you could pick up like Chubb or Kareem Hunt or something like that. Like one of those like under like just reliable guys year in year out. Like you're only expecting him to maybe get like 400 or 500 yards, if that. You don't really want to take a whole bunch of reps away from Brees. I get like last year with Dalvin Cook, because we didn't know what Brees was going to be coming off of the injury. Now other players I would look at, like I still want to beef up the offensive line as much as I do like the offensive line the way it is. We go from a really good veteran that doesn't play every game to a rookie where I mean, I love Fashanu or Fashanu, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
it's also like this is a huge year for us, and like yes, there is a lot of upside with the rookie, but at the same time, he's still a rookie. He still has to get acclimated to the NFL level, and he's going to be a backup for the first couple of weeks, so he's not going to get that live NFL reps, which is a good thing in a sense that we could finally sit and develop a first round pick for the first time. What feels like forever. Every first, whether it's the quarterback or wide receiver, whatever it is, they're thrown right into the fire immediately, and
For sure.
so. I'm still looking at a David Bakhtiari. I really am. I'm still looking at a McGovern. Like, I don't care if they don't play this year. I want that insurance policy. And that doesn't mean that Fashanu doesn't play. I want some. I mean, if Tippmann goes down, God forbid, then we could fill McGovern in at center, something like that. Like, I just want quality up. I don't care if it's too much. Let them carry 11, 12 offensive linemen. I don't care at this point. If that means that we got to go like a little bit thin at the safety position, or we got to go a little bit thin maybe at the wide receiver position. But I also would like another wide receiver.
Yeah.
However, I'm sorry for the long-winded answer, by the way.
No. I asked you a question, you're answering. I'm completely fine with long. Listen, I did a podcast with, I don't know if you know Kyle Smith, but we're doing a podcast for a while. I'm used to long-winded answers. I talk to myself for 2 hours. I give long-winded answers. It's completely fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I would like another wide receiver, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
However, me and Dan have been going back and forth. We have this idea that maybe come the trade deadline, if there's a certain team in Las Vegas that isn't living the hype because they don't really have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't Gardner Minshew as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not winning and things aren't going great, maybe we bring over a certain 17. Just saying. I don't know how realistic it is, but I feel like if that's going to happen, it's going to be at the trade deadline. And we see just hanging out with him still. I mean, there was a post on Instagram. They're still best friends. If you could bring in a David Bakhtiari and you could bring in Devontae Adams, you get Rodgers, like all of his like real boys. I'm not talking about Tim Boyle and Billy Turner here. Like if we could bring real best friends, then maybe we got something here. What do you think?
Yeah. Realistic. Like the problem with Adams is I think we have about $7 million-ish right now. I'm not sure exactly how much is left after the draft class, but in terms of bringing on guys like Devontae, I think it's a thing you could probably make work for 1 year. But then you also have Reed, Michael Carter II, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, all these guys you got to sign. So that big of a cap hit, I don't see it as feasible. I would say it's probably more unrealistic than not, just because the Jets don't have a ton of money. To me, like I guess they could technically pull off a Devontae move, but like at that point, I'd rather. And again, this is I don't know how much the price would be on Devontae, midway through the season, because you get a little bit lesser on the contract for every game he plays. Right. But it's a thing where like I'll take Connor McGovern, a receiver for, let's say it's a Corey Davis comes back or something like that, and a Quandre Diggs over like just signing one receiver, even though that receiver is, an absolute stud. But I just don't think it being able to work under the Jets, salary cap. But I want to ask you one more question before you jump off. I get to the next caller. Schedule. What's your prediction, or not even prediction for week one? What do you prefer week one? Because nobody knows, but there's people out there. Hey, I want the Niners. Hey, I want the Dolphins week one in MetLife. Like, do you prefer the big primetime game to test the Jets? And like, again, it's more preference. Like there's no wrong or right answer. Or do you want like the hopeful layup, considering, where the Jets, nothing's really a layup, but what we hope is a layup this year. What do you want for week one?
So it does seem like it's going to be away. I've seen a lot of rumors that it's going to be at Tennessee. I really want that home game again. I want like a big primetime game, just because like we were robbed. I was there at the game last year. So it's like we were robbed.
Oh, you were there?
Yep. So it took me 4 hours to get there. So like I walk in as Aaron Rodgers is getting hurt. I'm right outside of the stadium walking in. My dad texts me he's hurt. That's all I got. I'm like, oh my God. So that's what I walk into. So I want New England week one, but I don't think that New England is going to be like a primetime game. Like I just don't like there's no big players on that squad anymore. However, I mean, they do have the rookie quarterback, and I want New England simply for the fact I have nothing against Drake May besides I have to hate because he's a Patriot. I have to, and I just want that revenge. I get it's not Belichick, but I want that revenge of where we drop a 50 burger and just completely wreck a rookie quarterback week one, scare the crap out of him. I don't want to injure anybody. Like I'm not about that, but just really, like I want him seeing ghosts. Like I want some of these revenge. Like it's like we have so many memorable bad games against New England, whether it's the butt fumble or the seeing ghost games or whatever it is, where it's like I want I want Drake May to see ghosts. I want Drake May to have, it's like something like that. Like I want one of those historic games where we could laugh and go, ha ha, Patriots, because it's really never been done, at least in the 20 years I've been watching the Jets.
Okay, Liam, appreciate the call. Hopefully, well, I'll talk to you in about 6 days, I believe. I'm coming on your show in about 6. So I'll talk to you then. See you, Liam. Yeah, Pats week 1, it would be nice. Again, we've been put in some shitty situations in terms of our home openers and getting absolutely smacked. So for us to make another quarterback see ghost, again, nothing against Drake May, like Liam said, but I would like to kick the shit out of him. Maybe not injure him, but hurt him. I would like to hurt him a little bit, make him knock his wind out, Mike White versus Matt Milano situation type deal with Drake May. Yeah, I prefer an easier landing spot. I do. And seeing it be New England, that's my hope, 1:00 game against New England. I think if it was like the Broncos, I think the Broncos, they might put that in a prime time slot. Now, you typically don't consider like the Broncos a prime time team, but considering Sean Payton, considering the rookie quarterback who's probably going to be starting for them, I could see it. But yeah, easier landing spot is what I'm going to root for. I'm going to bring on my next guest here, Sneakers to Boots, who I think is probably watching the Knicks game as well. I see the head turning every once in a while. I'm literally, Knicks game is right here as well. Are you a Knicks fan, Sneakers to Boots, or are you not?
No, I'm a big Knicks fan. So
okay.
Two teams who disappoint me on the regular.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing well. Brunson got hurt in the second quarter last game, so I'm just happy he's even out there. We'll see what happens. I hope
you guys are missing OG this game though, right?
OG, he's probably gonna be out at least until Tuesday minimum.
Okay,
Yeah,
and so you have OG out, and then Mitch Robinson. You're gonna lose. You guys lost for the entire playoffs, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks.
yeah. I can't say I'm rooting for you guys. I would like to see you guys probably lose, but it just is what it is. Like I'm a miserable Nets fan, so I need to drag people down with me. But for your sake, I hope they win. I don't think you're gonna have a problem with this series anyway. I'm really interested to see what they do against Boston, assuming Boston beats the Cavs. But what's on your mind, Sneakers Boots?
So first off, I'm repping my guy in Washington. Got to show him some.
Oh, you cut out for a second. You're on mute. All right, I can't hear you. I don't know if that's Oh, he dropped off. He'll be back on. Leon Washington. I was gonna say that. I was gonna ask if it's a different 29 jersey, but we were just talking about Leon and apparently being the rat. I don't know if Eagle just heard that or if Eagle is on some conspiracy websites. I don't know if he's into some conspiracy theories like our Aaron Rodgers is, even though some of them may not even be conspiracy theories. Sneakers to Boots.
My bad, man. I was getting a phone call.
No, it's all good. I was going to ask you about the Leon. I have a Leon too. I was going to say perfect timing in terms of him getting released. And I think Eagle thing on here said that he may have been the rat. I don't know if you've heard anything about that, but what are you going to say about Leon?
No, I mean, he's just one of our original Jets. I mean, come on, man. Yeah. 10 years on our team. Like, I don't think that he would do this team dirty. At least I don't think, like whenever he talks in the media, he speaks highly. I mean, he has his opinions. He's not as pessimistic as Lavernius Coles is. Like, my God, like he's just if he's pessimistic and we're 11-5 going into the last week of the season or whatever, and I mean, it sounds like he's got a narrative, but that's just my opinion. But
yeah, I want to follow up about that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like I've never really watched Lavernius. Like I've seen little snippets of him on what is it, like they're on like the 33rd team or whatever it is on I think it's him and Wayne Corbett. I've seen snippets of them on Twitter. Is that an act, or is he just like is it an act, or is he just an idiot? Because some of the things he says, dude, are just like it seems like he's just like he has it out for the Jets for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's becoming consistent enough where it's like he's starting to think like that's his actual opinion. And I mean, Wayne's on there with him obviously, and he's just like, man, I don't know what the heck he's spewing, but like we're not going to figure it out until the season starts, because I don't think they do that pod until it starts. So. We'll see about that. But going back off of last year, I mean, dude, that was like the epitome of just a roller coaster of emotions. And the football guys, man, they got to be swinging back that pendulum so far the other side. We just keep getting our balls kicked in for the past 20 years, like every time. So it's got to swing back at this point, right? Like 4 plays, we got to get more than 4 plays. Come on.
Yeah, like I said, I almost went into like a legitimate depression. Like, not obviously not really, but like that was one of the rougher moments for me. Just because like at that point, it's like, hey, we had Hard Knocks. It's turning around for the Jets. It can't be that bad for that long. All the stars are aligning, and fucking 4 plays like that. That was the most disheartening moment of my one of the most of my life. And like sitting there for those 2-3 quarters, it was wild how silent it was for the rest of the game until like the last couple of minutes of it. It's just that dreary feeling was something I don't think I'll ever experience again. But here's the hoping that we don't have to deal with that shit anymore, and we can actually win some games, because like legitimately there is no fan base that deserves it, I think, more than Jets fans right now. So
No, I mean, we made this company, or the organization that Woody has, under $1 billion, a $4.6 billion company, and we've nothing but sucked.
yeah.
So that just shows the amount of love and passion we have for this team all around the country and even around the world. But in terms of the schedule release, I'm 100% with you. I want a no big hype game in week 1. Give me the Cardinals week 1. Give me the Titans week 1. Give me the Colts, whichever, even Seattle week 1, preferred on the West Coast. I mean, the thing is though, like the last 2 years that we've had these tough starts, right? We've actually managed pretty well. Like last year we went 4-3. No one saw that coming. And then the year before that, we faced basically the gauntlets of the AFC North, and we went 2-2 with Zach Wilson, I think, leading that after that Steelers game. So, and we pretty much, then we went 6-3, and then we lost all our fumes down the rest, lost 7 straight. And then last year, obviously, we know what happened with that. So, the regular season it's ebbs and flows, man. It depends on who's hurt, when you play them, what time of the year you play them. If they're on a hot streak. So I don't want to play Miami for week 1. They're usually hot right out of the gate. Same thing with the Niners. So keep away from that.
Yeah, you especially don't want to play in Miami, right? Like you want the away like, and that's what people like. Oh, the schedule doesn't matter. It's like, no, it matters, dude. Like you look at Miami's home field advantage in September, October, like it's pretty ridiculous. Like the way they design the stadium and everything, it sucks for the away teams. So, yeah. So in terms of who you want, then do you have a specific target, or doesn't really matter? Like you said it could be any team, any of the lesser teams, but I think you said away, right? So do you prefer like open up in Arizona or something like that is your preference?
Yeah, I mean, get the West Coast. I mean, you're going to be able to get on the road on an early start, right? Week and a half ahead of time, get that out of the way. And then, just go from there. I mean, we have 9 away games this year. So just the way the odds are, it feels like we're going to start off with an away game. I do think maybe the schedulers kind of want us to maybe fly underneath the radar a little bit. I think a lot of the nation got kind of a little bit of Jets overkill with the Zach Wilson experience. So they're probably just kind of be like, I don't really want to watch it. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers has that whole effect, but like, we'll see what happens. I mean, in terms of going to a game, if you're going to go to Minnesota, it is absolutely fantastic.
You're trying to get me somewhere, right? You're usually in the chat saying I should go to where? Is it Tennessee you're trying to get me to? I think Tyson's trying to get me to Tennessee too, but I don't know if I can. I'm trying to do all 30 stadiums, so I don't know if I could do Tennessee twice before I hit like Minnesota and a bunch of other stadiums. But I think it was you in the chat who was trying to entice me to go to somewhere. So where are you going? Is it Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where it falls. One of my good friends, he just had a baby, so it depends on when that can work out. So always a one time a year kind of thing. But I've been to Nashville. It's a fun city. Unfortunately, I don't go to a game, so I kind of like it's like, damn, I've been to the city. I saw the stadium, I didn't get to go to it. So it'll be good with all the Jet fans if that's the team. I have a couple of questions though in terms of the draft. So I know you were a big ceiling guy with wanting Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze. I'm super happy that we got the left tackle. I mean, I wanted Latham, even though he was obviously more of a traditional right tackle. The floor has been beneath the earth for this team, especially on the offensive line, every year for the past 10 plus years. And every year we hear it. Fix the O-line, fix the O-line, fix the O-line, fix the O-line. And like in a year where there's a lot of great tackles on the board, and we didn't even think we were going to get it in the end of the season. We're like, oh, we're at 10. We're not going to get Fashanu. We're not going to get we're not going to get And then Fashanu we get at 11. So we drafted the most pure pass protector in the draft. He obviously has a lot to work on in the run game. I do agree with you when he said he does kind of lack that nastiness factor, especially in the run game, but he's willing to learn, man. And especially with Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses and that kind of veteran leadership, to maybe he can develop that nastiness a little bit. I mean, he's his own guy. He's going to have his own flavor to it, but we'll see with that. So just want to get your take on Fashanu.
Yeah. like I said, it was a thing where I was okay with offensive line depending on how they pivoted, right? Like if they didn't pivot to Corley, then I wouldn't be as happy with it. Do I think Corley is necessarily enough? Not necessarily. Like I don't think Corley eliminates us adding a Corey Davis or an MVS or anything like that. So as long as they were going to build out the receiving core, I was okay with the offensive tackle pick. And like you're in here most of the time. Like you knew I wanted one of the top 3 receivers, but once they're gone, it was him versus Bowers. I want to avoid all the Bowers shit just because you know what it is. Like that was absolutely brutal on Twitter and YouTube, all that stuff. And trading back, getting a 5th and a 6th, and getting the best pass protector in the draft, a guy who. Like he's not bad in the run game because he's not strong. Like he's strong. You see the pictures of him in training camp. Like he's got like a thick thighs. Like he's built well. It's more technique wise in the fact that he's 21 years old, so he has to learn a little bit there. But like you said, could he walk into a better situation in terms of learning? I hesitate to buy into like the media hype in terms of like him saying this is where I want to be, but I don't know if you've watched all the interviews. It seems like he's at least somewhat genuine. Like maybe it wasn't 1,000% only the Jets, but like they were one of his top few options because like for him, again, is there a better scenario to really walk into if you want to be successful at the NFL level than walking into the Jets situation, getting to learn from Tyron Smith? So I like it. Again, it was more about what the pivot was because I did think that one of the receivers raised the ceiling of the team. But when you kind of dissect the draft, it's like, hey, seemingly they couldn't trade up. Like the Falcons didn't want to trade down because maybe a team jumps them to 9 for the Bears. So the Falcons didn't want to trade down and potentially lose Penix. So we couldn't trade up to get the receiver that I wanted. So the next best thing to me was, grabbing a guy like Fashanu and then pivoting. Getting a Corley. Again, I think it's a solid move. I'm not going to say that our receiver core is like amazing right now. I still think they can add to it. So I like the pick. How'd you feel about the rest of the draft? I don't know, Corley, the whole running back thing. Again, I get people like not necessarily liking the back-to-back running back thing. Like Harold says, if just one of them work out, like it's in the 5th round, that's obviously a good hit rate if just one of them work out. I think they're actually substantially different. In terms of how they actually run and stuff. But what are your thoughts on the rest of the draft? Or if you have any, I know you said you had another question or two or whatever, if you want to throw those out there as well.
Yeah, no. So with the draft, like with JD, like, I mean, he's obviously had his downs, right? Especially last year with not doing anything with the quarterback room and this, that, and the other. But in terms of regards to this year, man, like he's completely altered his mindset, right? Like at least like with the players he's drafted. Generally, with the left tackle or the lineman, he usually goes more aggressive, more run heavy, more kind of like that tenacious person, like kind of mentality. Fashanu's not really that. Maybe he can mold into that, like we just talked about. But Corley, he certainly sure has it, bowling people over. I haven't gotten a chance to watch your video yet on him, so I'm going to do that. But yeah, he needs to develop in his route running, right? Like in terms of maybe getting off that press man coverage. So I'm looking forward to him working with that. But the 2 running back thing, like, yeah, in the moment I was a little bit annoyed. Like, I mean, we have 3 running backs, and all of a sudden you're gonna bring on another one. But just from what you were saying, like he's more of a consistent in between the tackles kind of runner. And I mean, I know Braylon Allen had his highlights last year, but he was a little bit more like he was like trying to get to the end zone every time, like breaking outside when he doesn't necessarily have the speed for it. He had a better year previously when they had the power gap scheme. So we'll see. But I also think it's a good reason to draft another running back based off of contracts too, right? Like it's a 5th round pick. If you hit, you hit, right? We're gonna want to retain Brees. Like JD's gonna want to retain Brees. So I think it gives us the flexibility to potentially do that. Like, I mean, maybe we won't even draft a running back next year, so we'll see. The upside of Siggers, I mean, that story is going to be sensational just to watch throughout training camp and everything like that. Jalen Key, take it or leave it. I would have rather drafted Leonard Taylor, like Harold said, to kind of secure that contract for him. So we'll see how he does. But I guess my question to you is like my criticism of JD has been his lack of like eagerness in the sense of like getting contracts done, right? Like he always feels like he needs to like wait until the season's over, let the player kind of play out the deal and see where the chips lie. I want to see him be more proactive with these contracts, especially with DJ Reed and Michael Carter. I don't anticipate that we're going to keep both of them, but if we're going to keep one of them, you got to do it before the season starts. You have to. Like, I think DJ Reed might be a little bit better of a cap maneuverability since Carter's going to want the most money, right? Like one of, if not the best slot corner in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
With our tandem. So that's my biggest thing from JD right now. Otherwise, he's had a hell of a draft. We're going to see where the chips lie this year. And I mean, this fan base, when we start to win, we will be the most obnoxious motherfuckers. Sorry for cursing.
No,
on the face of the NFL, because we have been waiting for this since 2002 of that home stand against the Colts, and we blew them out. And I'm ready to go, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Sneakers and Boots. Hopefully I hear from you again soon. Appreciate the support as always. That fires me up, man. I cannot wait to just not like the playoffs is obviously the pinnacle, right? Like us all being at a playoff game together, 100,000 fucking psychopath Jets fans. Like that's great. But like even just winning a couple of games in a row, like games that actually matter, beating the Dolphins at home in prime time or the Bills or whatever. Cause like, yeah, the last primetime game, and obviously the Chiefs were a primetime game. That was a fun game and all that stuff, but like, you're not really expecting anything. The Eagles, we won, but still like you win. It's like, okay, hopefully they get to 8-9 wins and sneak into the playoffs, into the wild card. But you're not legitimately excited. Like, I just can't wait to watch Aaron Rodgers throw passes in MetLife and actually win some games, And hopefully the Jets do give us the season we deserve. I don't think there's anything limiting this team from being, and I'm not predicting this, but looking at the schedule, could you not see 13 wins? Again, I'm not predicting that. I would predict I would say the over under. I would say like 11 or 12 is probably where I'm at. But in terms of teams that are just straight up better than the Jets on the schedule, like, yeah, the Niners, but and even the Niners, like I think people are kind of just saying that because they're the Niners. If you look at the team, like, do they have better corners than us? No. Do they have better running backs? Well, better running back. Okay, sorry, they have a better running back, better tight end. Receivers, Debo and Ayuk. Oh, okay, I guess we'll take that. Like, are you going to take that over Garrett and Williams? Sure, I guess maybe, but like that's relatively close. So like the roster is pretty comparable in terms of I'm taking your defensive line. I'm taking probably our linebacker. Green. You have Greenlaw and Warner. That's pretty close, but the Jets are right up there with them. Our corners blow out their corners in my opinion. Our offensive line, if healthy, I'll take our offensive line. If healthy, maybe not considering health. But then the big difference is quarterbacks. Like Purdy is an average quarterback, let's say, and Rodgers, wherever you think he's going to fall, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think he's at the minimum going to be a top 10 quarterback. Like Rodgers has shown throughout his career, and obviously he's older now, so it's going to be harder. But Rodgers has shown that, hey, like when people doubt me, that's when he comes out and he balls out. So if you get 90% of what Rodgers was his last time playing, and even in the injured season year, like he was still a good quarterback then. A lot of people like look at that like, oh my God, like he was so terrible. Dude's playing with a broken finger on his throwing hand, throwing to Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson in the rookie year. Like that was like we're gonna criticize Rodgers for that. Like, okay, let's take Rodgers in 2022 with that broken finger and kind of like imagine what it would be if he had Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, the running game, the defense we had. Like it's a much better year, right? So like, yeah, we have to consider that he was hurt and he didn't have the best supporting cast. Romeo Doubs was dropping everything at first. And even throughout the season, I'm not going to say Christian Watson was good at the end, but I don't think he's an absolute stud, or anything like that. So, like why are we not better than the Niners? Fuck the Niners, right? Like who says that they should automatically beat us? So in terms of like looking at the schedule, it's not like we're playing like a gauntlet of teams. It's not like we're playing, the Niners and the Bengals and the Ravens, like the AFC North again. Like I think the Jets could win 13 games. Again, would I predict that? No, I'll probably be more comfortable at like saying, hey, something like, 11, 12, bringing I think this is Dano. Dano, hey, yes. What's going on? You just jumped on. Dano, what are your thoughts? Should we be a bunch excuse my French here, but a bunch of bitches and cower down to some of these teams? Like, why can't we beat the Niners?
Dude, there are more position groups on the Niners that I can say is league average than there are on our team, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think our weakest position groups actually are all youth oriented and have upside that they could do well better than league average. I mean, our safety group is one of them. Yeah. I don't know if you're a Tony Adams guy, but I love that dude, and I think his upside is a lot higher than people give him credit for. I also think Chuck Clark's gonna have a monster year. What do you think about them two guys?
Yeah, no, I like Tony Adams. Watching his UDFA film, I don't know. You seem like you're relatively newer to the channel, Dano, but I was pumping up his UDFA film, and he came and he actually played pretty well in the preseason for the Jets that year. And then he came in like Seattle game, Dolphins game later on in his rookie year, and he was okay in those games. But for UDFA, I thought he was like he wasn't out of place. And for a UDFA getting his first start, I think that's a good mark to hit. And then last year I thought he was okay. Like I didn't think he was great. I don't think he was terrible. I thought he was just like perfectly average. Like that's fine. And then Clark, Clark was a guy who I was the most excited about last year. And I said it last year, he was the best value they got in terms of like bang for their buck. And I was so freaking excited about him. I was gloating about how smart he was, gloating about his tackle ability and like how he never misses tackles. And then he tears his shit and we never get to see him. So like you have to ask your question, like, okay, how quickly does he recover? My concern with it is like you said, I get the youth thing, but like let's say Clark does have a setback. I like Ashton Davis, but I like Ashton Davis as more of a backup special teamer. I'm not going to say Ashton Davis should be a spot starter. Like you look at the 3 picks, and I have the breakdown of his entire season. The 3 picks were pretty lucky. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. So I'm not comfortable with him as a 3. I would like to see another guy added, but what are your thoughts in terms of like the back? Are you comfortable with the group in general? Do you have a little bit, maybe a higher expectation for Ashton Davis, or where do you kind of stand on the whole group?
I think if our defense leans a certain way as far as weakness, I think our team is a little weaker at stopping the run, especially like elite running backs. And I think that kind of suits our safety group because like, I don't know, you can get a guy like Simmons, sure, but how much help do these corners need? What our front 7 need help with is stopping guys like Saquon Barkley. I mean, that game, I was so pissed at that game, man. He was just, dude. But we pulled it out. But what I'm saying is, like, Simmons, I don't think would have as much. Like, I would rather save every dollar we have. Yeah, get Connor McGovern high on my list. Get Connor, please. But the rest of the money save for the deadline because, I mean, unless we're gonna restructure Reed and free up $8 million in cap there, I think that we should squirrel that away because someone will shake free, and I have a feeling that third round future pick we got is probably gonna be dealt before Halloween. I really do.
Is that the Devontae thing?
I don't know that it's Devontae. I mean, signs point that way, but why would Pierce get rid of him? I mean, well, I guess that's a stupid question. He would get rid of him because he can't fully maximize him, and that team's going nowhere. But I don't know, man. Like it doesn't have to be Devontae, is what I'm saying. I want to see this team go out there and play for a month before I decide where to put that last little bit of money at. Because what if we get a Simmons and our secondary is beast mode? We don't even need him, and then we fall a half a weapon short.
Yeah. I'm more for like spreading the money out a little bit more so than like splurging at one spot. And I get the point too, because like at what point is it overkill in terms of Simmons? Like how much more of an impact is Simmons going to make than a Quandre Diggs, considering how good the safeties are? So I definitely understand that argument. I don't think Simmons is very realistic unless he's going to come for a lesser price because like he wants to compete or something like that. But yeah, so like safeties, it's one of the spots I want. Connor McGovern, I'm with you. I've been talking about that for forever. Like Wes Schweitzer's not enough at interior offensive lineman. Now, if they're thinking that Max Mitchell can be like a guard tackle hybrid, like fine, I guess, but he's not a center. And in my opinion, he doesn't have the movement skills necessary for it. So for me, it's like get McGovern back. If Nate Herbig does get cut by the Steelers, I'm completely down for that. I think he's a pretty good fit for the scheme, but, past that, schedule thoughts. It's kind of the theme, a little bit of the theme of the show. I thought it was going to freaking come out yesterday or today. Unfortunately, just so I can try to schedule my trips and all that stuff and take vacation days. Nonetheless, they waited a week for whatever reason. What are your thoughts there? And again, nobody is right here, but I get, like, if I could go into the future and say, hey, I know that we'll beat San Fran in week 1, then give me San Fran week 1, kick the shit out of them and make some noise. With that being said, I'm a Jets fan. I know what it is. Like I rather just have a nice, easy game, but that's my preference. What is yours?
So it has a lot to do with like last year we were spoiled, man. We had not 9 home games and we had a 10th one that was in our building. Like this year, Sneakers to Boots said it exactly, man. It's pure math. Like for one, I think we need an away game right out the gate. I mean, we don't need anything, but it'll help us. And I want to get the Cardinals out of the way first because think about it. You got 9 away games, but 3 of those, one is across the world, probably.
Yep.
And the other 2 are clear across the country. I don't think it'll be San Fran because the week 1 game's going to get ratings regardless.
No matter what,
why would you burn a marquee game like that week 1?
That's a good point.
So like and you're not going to London week 1. So give me Arizona. Because if we start out at home like people want, then you're going to have 9 out of 16 away, including 3 huge trips that it's not going to look pretty. I mean, like I said, I don't think it matters because this team is better than I think they're better than San Francisco on paper, man. I do. I think the only thing that puts San Francisco ahead for me is experience, yes, but coaching.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, that's, but I don't know. If you had a tick box, I think we have more checks than they do.
I get the hate for the Jets, like from like the national media, but if you just look at the roster individually, like dude, it's the roster is stacked. Now obviously we have a ton of injury questions with the Jets roster, but assuming any level of health and like not historically bad numbers like we were last year, like 14 different offensive line combinations or whatever crap that was, like the Jets can compete with anybody. So like I'm not saying that I'm afraid of San Francisco or they can't beat San Francisco because of course they freaking can, but the Jets are a newer team in terms of like being what they are now. So you need to develop some chemistry. Like San Fran's been doing this shit for 5-6 years now, you know, with their coach and, you know, establishing what they are. I would like to build up a little bit before we play a team like that. But one more question for you can answer whatever, but like quick thoughts on the draft too, Dano, because I haven't talked to you or anything like that. If you can get like a quick synopsis of what you think and then maybe like not like a grade or anything like that, but yeah, quick synopsis.
So I was an Izzy guy, man. I really was.
Yeah.
I'll gloss over the obvious draft nuggets, but like the second running back, that didn't bother me as much as it did others. It really didn't.
Yeah.
Because we ran the ball 400 times last year. I expect us to be closer to 450 or 475 this year. And I think Brees is going to be, yes, a runner, but I think he's going to be peppered into the passing game a little more. So if you give him 250, we still need 200 carries out of them other guys. So yeah, I'll take those 2 running backs. I think Stiggers is going to be a gem. I really do. Travis, I just want him to replace Tyrod or Tyrod. I want him to replace him in a year or 2. That's fine with me. I'm not going to project him to be a starter because we know how that goes. Overall, I think when you consider that we paid the rest of Aaron Rodgers' bill and we still have an unspent 3rd rounder, I'll say that what we did use, we got a B+ on, but it's got the upside. It's got the upside of being higher with that 3rd. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
What if that brings in Devontae or someone at the deadline? Like you got to say that, you know, with the capital he had, he had an A definitely. You know.
Yeah, no, I give it a B+ again. There's little like things I think you can nitpick, like the running backs, or whether you don't like Stiggers or you don't like Key or something like that. But for the most part, it was fine. Like it was a fine draft to me again, B+. But Dano, appreciate the call. I know that I saw you in the chat. Oh, go ahead.
The only other thing I was going to add in is that me and a contingent like Daniel Murphy, a couple guys are definitely going to at Pittsburgh. So if you're there, dude, we'll definitely, I don't know, shotgun a beer or something.
Or 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Dan. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, later.
Yeah, shotgun a beer or 2 or 3. Dano, yeah, let me know, man. Or I'll let you know, because if I do go, I'll hit you up, and then either the tailgate the night before, the night after, whatever, we'll figure it out. So Yeah, it's just I gotta figure out exactly where I'm going to though. Like I said, Minnesota is the goal. I think Minnesota may be overseas though. It's either going to be Jacksonville or Minnesota. I would say the Jets are going to be playing in London, so it's 8 home games, 8 away games, and then kind of just like a whatever we're going to call that game in London. Obviously, it's a neutral field. But yeah, that's the goal is honestly Minnesota and New England. If I can't pull off one of those, it's Pittsburgh. The only reason for New England. Minnesota, just because I want to be able to fly somewhere and like go see a different stadium and not somewhere drivable. The difference, the thing with New England versus Pittsburgh is I would like to beat the shit out of the Pats when they're bad. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, no receivers, no real running back. Well, I guess they have Stevenson. I like Stevenson, but nothing to write home about. I would like to go there and see them kind of whoop their ass. So I'm gonna scroll up in the chat a little bit. Again, going until about 10 o'clock. The call number is pinned, but I appreciate it. We even had like 4 or 5 people on a playoff night. Which by the way, 99. I haven't been watching because I've been talking to people who've been generous enough to call in, but 99-99 with 6 minutes left. It's going to be an interesting ending again for the Knicks. I didn't see the end of game 2. Game 1 ending was wild. Pacers were up kind of big at the end, and then I know the last game the Pacers were up like 10 in like they were up like 10 or 12 in the beginning of the third quarter, and I turned the game on like 3 or 4 minutes later, or did something with my kid. He probably pooped on me again, and then they were up again. I was like, what the hell is going on here? So wild Knicks games. But here we go. Daniel Murphy. I always call you Dan. I was going to call you like Danielle. I don't know why the name Daniel always fucks me up, Dan. But what's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good. First time seeing your face. What's going on, man?
Yeah, man. It's cool that you're doing this call-in thing. I didn't think you were going to do it this week. I thought it was going to be next, but either way, yeah, it's cool to call in.
Nani had ditched me for the next game. At first I like hit him up. He's like, oh yeah, like I could do it for an hour. If we do it from like 6 to 7, I'll do it. And I'm like, what can he be doing at 7 o'clock at night? I'm like, oh, the goddamn Knicks. I was like, the Knicks? He's like, yeah. So I transitioned quickly to a call-in show, but I appreciate you calling, Dan.
We can't take that guy seriously anyway. He's half a Patriots fan.
Yeah, people are very very high or low on Nani. Like you can't really be lukewarm on him at this point. It seems like
to be clear, I do love Nani. I appreciate what he does for the. I just like busting his balls about changing his logo to the Patriot logo.
Yep, and then he got stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was unforgivable for sure.
So
anyway.
What are your thoughts, Dan? I don't know if you have anything that you want to talk about, but I'll throw it to you first in terms of the schedule stuff, because that's been kind of the topic of the show. Easy week 1. Nobody said anything about playing a tough team yet, but I get like wanting the Jets to prove it right off the jump. Shut up, everybody. The Jets are here. Again, they could do that week 4 to me, but it is what it is. What are your thoughts on the on the home opener, or home opener away, whatever it's going to be?
Well, that's the thing. Like you said, I mean, we can prove it. You got 17. There's 18 weeks to prove it. Yeah. you don't have to prove it right off the bat, man. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the tune-up game. I don't know. Like it would be nice to see Denver and smack them around. Like first of all. Because you do know, I mean, first of all, Rodgers is always known to be a little rusty his first game or two. Yeah, like you remember a couple years ago, they played the Saints the first game, and he threw like 3 picks, and everybody's like, "Oh, is this the downfall of Rodgers?" And then he went on to win an MVP. Like he always is a little rusty. I mean, heck, he kind of looked a little rusty that 4 snaps that we got to see. I mean, he hesitated on that throw, but he always gets it together. Yeah. It's just the early season jitters or whatever. So how about we play a team that we're just that much better than, that we're going to freaking win anyway.
New England.
And then week 1's always weird anyway. Like strange things happen week 1 because teams are just rusty and stuff. So yeah, how about we have a tune-up game, beat the shit out of, I don't know, the Broncos, or I'd be fine with the Patriots or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then if you want to bring on San Fran week 2, sure, let's do it. I don't care. But let's get that tune-up game in there real quick and let Rodgers knock some of that rust off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
That's
it's
the way
good.
I
It's a
look
good.
at it.
It's a good point. Like that first week, which I did the breakdown of that. Like he struggled against the Saints. Then he went on to win MVP. You have a new quarterback with a new offensive line. People don't think that communication matters there. It does with new receivers. There's so much new to the team that undoubtedly they're going to be a little bit rusty to start off. So like let them build up. Let them hit their stride before you play these teams that are considered top of the NFL. So I'm with you. Like Pats or Broncos is what I'm rooting for. Maybe the Broncos, because like I don't necessarily want prime time at first, but if you're opening prime time with the Broncos and you get to like put out a statement Monday Night Football and kick the shit out of them, that would obviously be pretty ideal. But past that, Dan, the roster, obviously, some people are a little bit different in terms of like the needs for the Jets versus the wants of the Jets. What do you think are the needs for the Jets right now? Like, what do you think are like the non-negotiables for what they got to do to the roster?
I mean, what are we talking about? Depth? I mean, that's about it. Like the roster looks pretty good. I mean, it looks as good as it's looked in years. And knock on wood, I hate to even say that because then, like, I don't know, plane will crash into the facility and Tyron Smith and five other starters will like end up in the hospital or something. I don't know. But so the roster looks good. I'm really down with whatever. I would say if I were to predict that we would sign any other free agent, I don't think they're going to end up going weapon. So it's one of two things. I either see Connor McGovern, which I would be a big fan of that move. Don't know if he's going to want to come here. He might try to see if he can get a starting job or at least a job behind a center that gets injured every year or something, where he thinks he can at least get a chance. Or I could see, I know you guys talked about Justin Simmons earlier. I would love Justin Simmons, but I don't see it. I see, like you said, Quandre Diggs. Mm-hmm. That's who I think Jody's going to up signing. I think it's going to be like later, I don't know, late June, early July. Like I think they're going up snatching up Quandre.
He's boys with DJ Reed too. They're always tweeting and stuff like that. Yep. So maybe DJ Reed could bring him in. And like I said with the safety, like even if you don't think it's like a value position in this defense, like considering the market it is right now, like why not just add a stud there? Like you can't have enough depth and everything like that. But anything else you want to add, Dan? And anything you want to throw into in terms of topics?
I was going to ask you, like, didn't like Pete Carroll run like a somewhat similar defense to what like Saleh runs to? Like, wouldn't Quandre be able to transition pretty easily?
Yeah, and like all these teams run they run so many variations that I don't think it like matters so much scheme to scheme. Like different teams have different nuances, but yeah, in terms of like their cover 3 and quarter stuff, like I'm sure they still have some of the same variations. Now I think they're still mainly cover 3. The Jets are actually like more quarters and cover 6 than they are cover 3 at this point. But yeah, in terms of like the systems and stuff like that, like even if they don't run quarters as much as we do, they still do sometimes. So I'm sure the verbiage and stuff like that is still very similar, so it'll be easier for Diggs to transition, I would say, than some other people. So
yeah, that was kind of my thought process too. I thought that Jody would look into that, but yeah. Aside from that, I mean, yeah, the roster looks good. I can't. Everybody's talking, 13, 14 wins, and it's so hard. I've been battered for so long, man. It's hard for me to just sit there and say that. I feel it, but I'm not saying it out loud.
Yeah. Are you planning on, where are you at, Dan? Are you in like Jersey, New York area? Do you go to games or are you somewhere else?
No, I thought you'd hear the hick in my voice. I
didn't want to assume anything.
No, I live in West Virginia.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Western Virginia, but yeah.
West Virginia. Have you ever been to a Jets game before?
I've been to back in 2010 when I was in college. I went to a Jets Vikings game. It was the first year of MetLife, and Brett Favre played for the Vikings, and they had Randy Moss for like 2 weeks, and then they shipped him. I don't know, it was weird. Randy played for like 3 or 4 teams that year. But
I kind of remember that game in 20. So, the first year of MetLife
Monday Night Football, there was a lightning delay. Like it was pissing down the rain, man. And they delayed it for like an hour. But yeah, it was Monday Night Football. It was awesome, man.
I think the first game, because the first year of MetLife was 2011, if I'm not mistaken.
It was definitely 10 though, because I know Brett
Well, 10.
Favre was still playing.
Well, 10, no, because 10. So, oh yeah, you know what? You are right, because it wasn't 11. 11 was the year they opened against the Cowboys, and 10 they opened against the Ravens, and it was like a 6-3 game. That's when Dustin Keller got speared over the middle by Ray Lewis. So that was that year. So you are right. It was 10, not 11. That's my fault. But dude, are you planning on coming into MetLife for any games? You want any away games?
MetLife is tough, man. And I work like weekdays, and I really don't get a lot of time off. I get like 3 personal days a year, and I got to save those for doctor appointments or whatever.
Yeah.
God knows what, but
real life stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to take my vacations in the beginning of the year, and I don't know what the schedule is until, so. But yeah, Pittsburgh is an hour and a half for me. So
there you go.
That's why, and then Dane lives like west of it, like hour and a half. So we're meeting up there. I think Gunny's going to come.
Oh, sweet.
There's quite a few. Snowball, I think, is coming. Like, there's going to be a few of us there. So that's why we're hoping maybe we get you out there. And
I think I might have
a beer or two. I might lock you up on some routes, whatever,
There you go, dude. I don't know what it is. Like, people come and like Ben comes to these tailgates. I'm multiple beers deep. He's like, you want to press me? I'm like, dude, I'm in like overalls and work boots, and we're trying to play like football. You have no beers. You're freaking 10 years younger than me. Like, what is all this bullshit? But yeah, dude, I'll let you guys know for sure. If I go there, I'm undoubtedly hitting you guys up, and then we could pound a few in the parking lot before the game.
For sure, man. Yeah.
All right. I'll catch you next time, Dan.
Yeah. See you, bub.
See you. Appreciate it. I like seeing some faces here. I knew what Sneakers to Boots looked like. I think I had them on before. I know Harold, but Dan calling in and Dano. I appreciate the support for the call-in guys, especially considering the Knicks are in a playoff game, and it's you guys are all mostly from New York, or at least have some New York ties. I'm gonna go back into the chat a little bit. I saw some questions in here. I was kind of scrolling through that I didn't get to when I was on the. Oh, actually, I did do this first because. Hold on. Got some super chats. First one from Dan, which I did not answer, like however long ago, 25 minutes ago. Bro, we make the playoffs and we're going to be obnoxious. The funny thing was too, Dan, and obviously he just hung up, but it was what was it the stretch where we had like 3 or 4 wins, right? Obviously Elijah Moore knocked us down a peg because, as soon as we win that game against Green Bay, I'm like waiting on the tarmac and I see his freaking tweets about not getting the ball or whatever, whatever scripture he put out there. But during that streak, we were almost unbearable. And that was a 3-4 win stretch in a what ended up being a meaningless year. Like, if we're a 12-13 win team and we make the playoffs and there's home playoff games, that's what I want the most. It's not even about, like, obviously, yeah, I wanted to enjoy each individual game, but I've never been to a home playoff game. And I cannot imagine what that environment would be like. I'm assuming it would be like the Monday night game to open last year, but just on steroids. And I don't even imagine how that could possibly happen, but it would. So I want the home playoff game. Bye week, divisional game, bring in the freaking Houston Texans or whoever that game's gonna be. Not gonna be the Bills because the Bills are gonna miss the playoffs, but I appreciate the super chat. Tom Cahill with another one. Jordan Travis is going to surprise everybody. I like Jordan Travis. I do. He has a ways to go. Undoubtedly, like I said, the processing stuff, some of the mental stuff you want to see him improve on. His footwork is pretty bad. Very toesy. His weight transfer is pretty bad. Like there's quite a few things he has to work on both mechanically and mentally. But he's a playmaker. He has good speed. He has good agility, good acceleration. I think he throws well on the move. He's a playmaker. But there's a lot of like little nuance type things that he needs to work on. But yeah, hey, like we've never had a situation where, and I don't know if he's necessarily like a second round pick. If he wasn't hurt, maybe like a third or a fourth round pick or something like that. But with that being said, like the Jets have never really done this. Like they've never actually legitimately developed a guy behind a legit starter and a legit backup. Like we've never even had a Tyrod as a starter. So, you're bringing in these Bryce Petties and Christian Hackenbergs and Genos and Sanchez's with nobody to really learn from. So to bring in Travis, who I think would probably be a third or a fourth round pick if he wasn't injured. You bring in that talent, you let him develop for 2 years. Like I think he could be a player. I don't think he'll ever be a top 5, top 10 quarterback, Tom, just because I don't think he has a necessary like arm talent to do it. But do I think that Jordan Travis could be a Tyrod Taylor level player? Yeah, even though they're different. I think Tyrod's a little bit. they're different. I think Tyrod has probably a stronger arm and a little bit better deep ball accuracy, but I think, Jordan Travis might be a little bit more like twitchy and athletic. But a mid-tier quarterback, like that's a massive hit. And obviously that's even a reach. If Jordan Travis is a good backup quarterback, that's a slam dunk in the 5th round. So I think you can surprise people. It's just to what level. Sneakers to Boots, appreciate you calling in and dropping a super chat. The Jets are going on a revenge tour. We have punch you in the mouth kind of players. Joe, if we don't meet up at an away game, beers at MetLife. Oh yeah, dude. Sneakers to Boots, I'll be there. I have season tickets. Will I make all 8 games? We'll see. We'll see if I get lucky. I made all of them last year, I believe, minus what was the Christmas Eve? The Christmas Eve game was the Commanders. I didn't make that one, but I'll be at least at 6 of them, Sneakers to Boots. So I'll let you know. I would love to have some beers with you at MetLife. And if not, an away game, maybe Minnesota. If you're in Minnesota, maybe New England. I think going to New England and watching the Jets kick the shit out of them in New England would be quite fun. So I think I have to make that happen. The only thing is though, for people who have been there, like what's the closest city that you can actually like hang out and do things in for like 2 or 3 days near Foxborough? Like, is there a town there? Like I know Boston, like Boston's probably at least 2-3 hours away from Foxborough, right? So is there anything else there? Like who knows? Who's from that area? Because I need some stuff to do in New England because I think I'm going there. Let's see. Free agent running backs available from Dano. Hot garbage. Yeah, there's not a lot. There's not a lot left. I'm okay with their group now. Like, even keeping Izzy as a 4 if he doesn't fit perfectly, I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily. There's not anybody out there who I think is worth taking over the potential of Izzy at this point. So I still think I'm at the point where I think interior offensive lineman is the only non-negotiable one to me. I think receiver is a spot where they could do something, but if they have faith in, listen, Lazard, if you told me Lazard was going to be a 4 last year, I would say, okay, like he's an okay 4 or even like a solid 4. Last year, obviously left a really sour taste in my mouth because not only did he suck, he seemed like he was a little bit high on himself. So maybe he dropped from like a solid 4 to like a solid 5 now for me, or, even like a lower end 4. So I think there's a possibility where they just think that he's going to be more what he was in Green Bay. And then they like Brownlee, they like Gibson, they're your 4 or they're your 5 and 6. And that's how they're going to roll. I think it's a possibility. Do I think that signing an MVS or something like that makes the group a little bit more well-rounded because he adds a speed element that we don't necessarily have? I would like to see a move like MVS and then get rid of whether it be Gibson or Brownlee. The thing with Gibson is, great story and stuff like that, but what does Gibson do that Corley doesn't? And like Corley is already going to be in like a pretty specific role. So does Gibson ever take touches away from Corley? Like, no, I don't think so. So I'm taking Corley on a jet sweep or end around over him. I'm taking him as a general receiver over Gibson. I'm taking him on punt returns over Gibson. So even though Gibson got more shots last year or made more appearances last year, just because of the similarities with the Corley, I think they might keep Brownlee over him. I know we got a comment later on in the stream or farther on in the chat saying that, don't sleep on Brownlee. All I'll say is I'm not saying he can't be anything. I'm not trying to say he can't even be, he could be whatever he wants to. He could be fucking Julio Jones if everything works out. But based on what I watched last year, based on what I watched in the preseason and the regular season, I'm not betting on him to make the roster or anything like that. Like, yeah, he could, but I don't know. I'm expecting a great Jet season this year. Cautiously optimistic. Yeah. Greg, you kind of have to be, right? Oh, and then talk about safety too. That's another position I think they could add, but they drafted JBC. They drafted Key. So could they be, JBC learning the scheme for a year? He bounced from, I think he went from safety to corner, and now he went back to safety. So safety to corner to safety. Maybe a year in the system, sitting down, learning from guys like Chuck Clark or whoever else in the room. Maybe he'll be ready. Maybe he is a solid 4. I can't attest to that right now, but maybe he is, and the Jets have faith in him. So I could see them not thinking that receiver or safety are huge needs, but to me, I would still bring something in there. But interior offensive line again is the non-negotiable for me. So Sean says in our next draft, if there's a top right tackle in the first round, I want him, and we can stay young. Yeah, hey man. Build that young core. Give me a first round right tackle next year. Then you have Fashanu step in. Then you have Tippmann and AVT. Then you need, and then you have Simpson. Well, Simpson, was it a 1 or 2 year deal? maybe Simpson's somebody, and then he could be just like an okay guard, and he's your weakest spot on the roster, and you have Tippmann, AVT starting right tackle, and Fashanu. Okay. Now, is that a young group for A-Rod and is probably his final year with the Jets? If I had to assume, yeah, maybe it's a little bit too young there, but sleeping on Brownlee, loved him last year in training camp, both clicking. Yeah, again, it's a possibility. I'm going to say that everything I've seen on tape has not been impressive, though. Like, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Okay, let's see. I think Michael Carter. If I had to choose between Michael Carter and Reed, I'm taking Carter. I think it's harder to play slot than it is to play outside. And when you consider the contracts, like even if you think Reed is the better player than Carter, consider the contracts they're going to get. A solid number 2 corner in the NFL and maybe like a lower end one for some teams. Maybe he gets, I don't know, $16, $17 million a year, 14 to 18. Like is my kind of feel for Reed, maybe even a little bit less, like 14 to 17. I don't know. Something like that. I think the last slot corner, the highest paid one was like $10.1 million a year. Give Michael Carter 10.3. So is the difference of Michael Carter to Reed, like to me, is the difference of Reed to Carter? How do I want to phrase this? Like there might be another player you could throw in there. Like you can get Michael Carter and let's say Quandre Diggs for the price of just Reed. Like, does that $5 or $6 million? Does that player plus Michael Carter make the difference to Reed? Like that's kind of the question to ask yourself because one's much cheaper than the other. It's not just Reed versus Carter. It's Reed's $16 million, let's say $15 million versus Carter's $10.2 million. What can you do with that $5 million? So I see my guest on the. I'm going to assume this is not a prank because it's a Jets background, Jets face mask. I saw you in here. So what is up, Infrared Jets? What's going on?
Doing good over here, brother. Doing good, man. I feel good.
Okay, so Infrared, you're clearly a big Jets fan. I feel like you're one of those guys. I'm just going to assume here. Do you want the Niners week 1? We're going to kick their asses. Who cares? Or are you more like, hey, soft landing spot for the Jets?
Yeah, I'm with Rich. Rich, he stated earlier that, in the comments, Rich was down there. I don't care who we play.
Okay.
I really don't, dude. I want all the smoke, all of it.
Niners week 1 and do you want if you had a preference? Because okay, you want to play. I'm not saying you want to play the good team, but if you do, Buffalo week 1, Miami, Niners, like who would you want?
Okay, me and Green Bean, we agreed with the Patriots.
Okay.
We agreed with the Patriots, and the last week, the Patriots as well. I want to kick their asses.
First and last game of the year. Okay, so Infrared. Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on? I was just talking about some of the holes in the team. What do you think? Like, where do they have to add for you to feel completely comfortable with this roster? You might now. Yeah.
Yeah, the holes that we have is the IOL.
Okay.
Yeah, the IOL. I'm a little skeptical about that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, man, on paper, bro, we're good, man. We're Gucci. We're Gucci, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah. Where are you? What games? What games are you going to, Infrared? Are you a season ticket holder? Do you live somewhere else?
No, season ticket holder. Nah. I've been a fan. I've been a diehard for 35 years.
Okay.
And the only one I'm traveling to is to Tennessee.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take my son to the Denver game. They're coming over here to visit us, and he hates Zach.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take him to that one, and I might take him to I always take him to the Halloween game. So I'm gonna take him to the Halloween game.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Infrared, anything else want to add before we get to our next caller?
Nah, man, we love you, bro.
Salute. I appreciate you, Infrared. Thank you for calling in, man. Sure. I hope I hear from you again in another month from now.
Nah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Let's get it.
Appreciate you. Infrared Jets. All right. Appreciate the call. I'm trying to see like off screen. Is he gonna take it off? I don't know, Infrared. I can still see you back there. I don't know what you're looking like. But bring our next caller. I see him waving. The infamous Bobby. What is going on, Bobby?
Joe. I'm a cartoon character now too.
You're a cartoon character. So I know you refer to Alan as a cartoon character. I've seen all of that, but why are you a cartoon character now as well, Bobby?
Well, Gator made it last night, and Jake played it this morning, and we have an argument. And I shoot him in the thing.
Oh, you shoot him as a cartoon character?
Yeah, Alan. So I'm not happy right now because I had $5 bet on it's over. I had a $5 bet. I could have won $12 on Josh Hart getting 2 3-pointers, right? He got one very easy. Then after that, nothing. So I'm a little messed up about that, man. Not good.
$5, Bobby. It's only $5. You just bet on the Jets to win a lot this year, and you'll make your money back.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna bet them they're gonna win the AFC East.
Okay.
12-5, and then I'm gonna put like $100 on it.
Oh wow. Okay. So Bobby, I know you are a Giants fan. You said it to me last time I talked to you, but you root for the
and guess what?
Jets as well.
Yeah, my brother's a Jet fan too. Guess what? Jake's gonna buy me.
What is Jake gonna buy you?
He's gonna buy me a Jet hat.
Really? Oh, so this is something that I've been seeing. But speaking of Jake's show, I know that there's a big to do today, a shoe store thing with Jake.
Good. I called in. I talked to almost everybody down there.
Okay, and I'm not trying to give anything away here. I don't want to spoil it for people, but apparently Bonesy struggled a little bit. What happened? What happened there?
He lost by 1. It was 4-3.
Wow, Bobby. So I want to ask you the question about the home opener for the Jets or the first week. Do you have any? Because again, I know you root for the Jets at the minimum, or at least I believe you root for the Jets, right? Jets Giants first, but Jets too.
I always cheer for the Jets.
Yeah.
Every game.
What do you want to see their week 1 be, Bobby?
Well, I'm thinking 2 teams. I think it should be the smelly Denver Broncos.
Okay.
Because then we can stack Zach Wilson about 10 times that game.
Okay.
And then I think maybe the 49ers. How's that?
Yeah, is that's your either one of those two. It's quite the range, like 49ers to the Broncos would be fun, man. Like I would enjoy kind of shooting down Sean Payton's season before it truly starts. But I
like
Bobby,
Sean Payton because he used to coach our Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was ballsy. What did he do in the Super Bowl that was very ballsy? You remember?
On the onside kick to start the second half.
Oh my God, I was going crazy. I do not like the Colts. I remember he got the onside kick. Yeah, infrared. Yeah, I talked to him a lot. He's a good guy. Guess who I got to talk to on? The other one, Jets Afterburner show.
Yeah, I'm going on their show. I believe in 6 days from now, so I'll be on there. So yeah, I know Dan and Liam just called in. I talked to him for the first time.
Let me talk to. Dan let me talk to Craig Carden. You know him?
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, I get excited when I talk to him.
That's
Anybody
awesome.
behind me?
Yep.
Anybody waiting behind me?
No, you don't have any, but I do have to jump off in like 15 minutes, so I probably have to wrap up a little bit with
the Dan show next.
I am going to take care of an infant child next.
Oh, I know you're a daddy. Yeah, you have a son, right?
Yep, he's about 4 months now, so I'm sure when I get upset, I'll have to do some stuff.
My daughter's gonna be 18 in July.
Oh, nice, Bobby. Are you coming to any Jets game this year? I've been asking a lot of people.
Yes, me and my brother, and we want to meet everybody. Bonesy's off on Sunday, so we get to meet him there. He's going to a Jet game. I can't wait. We met Craig. Craig from Australia.
I do not. Maybe I do by his screen name on here, but I don't know if I've ever actually interacted with him.
Yeah, he's like he is not a doctor, but he sells medical supplies. He's a great guy.
Okay.
Fun guy. Yeah, I talked to everybody. Rob, from Glen Head. Neil, I got to talk to who else? Jake himself. Sham did the video. You know Sham?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think I heard of him. I saw his face.
Mm-hmm.
So I let you go so you could take care of your little boy.
I appreciate you, Bobby. I hope
What's
to hear
his
from you
name?
again.
Joe Jr.?
No, it's Lincoln.
Well, that's an interest. I like those kind of names. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the regular, like Michael, Robert. That's my real name is Robert.
All right, Bobby.
Yeah,
I appreciate you. I hope to hear from you again in about a month.
Yeah, helping your wife out tonight, right?
Yeah, of course. Got a happy wife, happy life, Bobby. You know it.
Well, you gotta take care of that baby. You are
Yep.
excellent dad, and you're a cop too, right?
Yep.
That's
correct.
Oh, I can't believe you're a cop. I praise you. You're a good guy.
Thank you, Bobby. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Joe Blewett. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bobby is one of the elite call-ins in Jets land. Going from Bobby to, and I'll fit another one here, Johnny Boy popping in late. Johnny, if you can hear me, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, dude? How you holding up, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yep. I got you perfectly fine.
Yeah, man. How can I go after Bobby and whatnot? So what a call.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw the same question that I've thrown to everybody. Week 1, like, what are your thoughts? I wish it came out, yesterday or today, so I could talk about it and like legitimately kind of break the schedule down. But I don't know if you're you're a local and you go to the games or anything like that, and if that has any like influence on the schedule. But what do you want week 1?
So week 1, man, I want Denver. I want that Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, like I was putting on the chat a little bit earlier, JFM.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron versus Sean, Hackett versus Sean, prime time. Let us kind of like what Murph was saying, a tune-up game. Like, why not, give us, but at the same time, man, there's not really nobody on that schedule that I'm truly afraid of. Right. So I guess I'm going with Denver, man. I would say I want the Broncos, they're not that crappy of a team, but they're middle. So why not? But bro, like, it's crazy, dude. I'm about to have a daughter. My daughter's gonna be born in July. So
first?
No, my third dog. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, bro. So
okay.
I'm getting myself prepped up again for the whole, helping the wife out at nighttime. And dude,
salute to you, man. I like, there's some days where like, hey, whether he be with her or I, or he's sleeping and you get that little break, I can't imagine getting the break to then take care of toddlers. So salute to you, man. It's tough. It's not for everybody. Like, if you're not ready for it, don't have kids, man. But congratulations to you. Is it your third and last? Are you going to be popping out like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like Cromartie, or?
Bro, it's the last one, dude. I'm going to the butcher to get the Stromboli clipped off.
Gotcha.
Like, I got to, man. Like, I can't, man. And my wife too. We're older as well, so it's been a rough
high risk.
Not high risk. It's just, dude, I don't want her to be like 41 with another kid type of thing, right? I mean, she's 37, so
gotcha.
But yeah, dude, I want the Broncos, bro, or start on the road at Tennessee.
Okay.
I would love to go watch it out there, man. I've never been out to Nashville, so I think it'd be kind of a cool thing.
Is that your away game you're gonna be hitting? Is the Tennessee game?
I think that's gonna be one for sure. I think because I have a condo out in Pigeon Forge, so it's like 3 hours away from Nashville. So I'll take my daughter. It'll be easier for us with the newborn and whatnot. But kind of to like with Dano and Murph and all them is the Pittsburgh game. So it'll be cool to go there. I've never been. I've always wanted to go to that field to go check it out and see how it is.
Oh, sweet. Dude, it seems like, I don't know if you're like buddies with those guys, but it seems like quite a few people are going to be going for that game. So if you are going to that game, like I said, I'll promote it on the channel, and I don't know how often you watch, but if I'm going to go there and like Dano and all these guys are meeting up, like I'll organize something like going out to a bar before the game, a tailgate, something like that. Like, if there's gonna be people interested, I'll do that for everybody and try to figure it out. So if you're gonna go there, Johnny, like, I think you guys are starting to kind of sway me. Like, hey, let's go to freaking Pittsburgh to meet all you guys. Like, that'd be pretty cool. So
Yeah, it'll be a good time, man. I mean, Dano is the one that really was like pushing forward, so I was like, why not? Let's go. I've always wanted to go. So he's the one that started it all, So I'm pretty hyped in regards of
Awesome.
that. Plus, I'm from Long Island, so originally from Long Island, and the fandom of being a Jets comes from my father and whatnot. And bro, first went to Hofstra, saw Tony Mignola play, man. I don't know if you remember Tony Mignola, but yeah, don't even look it up, bro. You're gonna fucking stop.
So Johnny, before I let you go, because I'm gonna wrap up in a couple of minutes. What are your thoughts on like the non-negotiables for the roster? Like, what do you think that JD needs to do for you to like walk into the season comfortably? And you could even talk about like your wants versus your needs, but like where do you want to see the Jets pivot to in free agency in the next like 3 months?
So, dude, death, man. Like I think that's really it. Like I feel confident going into the season with everybody we have. I mean, maybe I don't trust Gibson as a returner, right? So that's like my biggest thing. But then I'm thinking, what if Izzy? Because Izzy has the experience of playing a returner when he played over there in Pitt. So, dude, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm teetering between safety and maybe a vet wide receiver. And that's really it. So
I'm with you. I'd like to add both. I'll be selfish, and then like I said, interior offensive lineman. I don't think Schweitzer backing up 3 spots is good enough at this point. So we'll see. Like they have plenty of time to pivot. If they extend to DJ Reed, they have plenty of money to bring in some of those guys. But Connor McGovern cost like 1.9 last year, I believe. Some of these solid free agent receivers are going for like $4 million. Like Zay Jones just went for like up to 4.8, I think. So like MVS, could you sign up for $2.5 million as your receiver 4? Like maybe that's a possibility. But Johnny, I appreciate the call for sure. I don't know if I see you in the chat all the time, but I appreciate you calling in.
I used to have it as just Johnny in my last name, but I switched it up to Johnny Boy. My pops, that was my nickname growing up. So, dude, you were one of the first cats that were talking really highly. You and my Uncle VR were talking about Latham and how high he was. So, like, I was on board for that, dude. But hey, we got Olu, right? I appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing, dude. And hey, man, thank you for your service, dude. So
thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. Hopefully I hear from you again in a month.
Definitely be here, man.
See ya. Yeah. Thank you to I just removed. So Johnny's still behind the scenes. Whoever just called in, I kicked you out by accident. You came in last second. I didn't mean to do that. So call back in, whoever's just in here, and I'll fit you in. It's completely okay. But thank you for the call. Thank you for the call, Johnny. I'm sorry, whoever unless they just kicked themselves out. I don't know. But great show, man. Bobby. Yeah, Bobby. I've only just met Bobby, but Bobby seems like probably one of the nicer human beings you're ever going to meet. That's how I feel about Bobby. So I appreciate him calling in. Knicks lost. Yeah, I'm sorry to all the Knicks fans. Not really. Like, I don't feel so bad for you, but I feel bad for you individually. I can't feel bad for the Knicks though. For me as a Nets fan, and I get like we're only like 15%, maybe not even of the maybe it's like 5%. 5% of the fandom in New York like goes to the Nets. But I don't know how often Knicks fans kind of shit on the Nets, like with the little brother, which we are, but it's like annoying sometimes. It's like, why talk so much? With that being said, I think it's because the Nets were actually solid for a few years, and I think they beat the Knicks like 6 times in a row, so maybe that's why. But nonetheless, Joe, what's your favorite position to break down? I would say receiver or corner. I would say are probably my 2 favorite. Yeah, receiver and corner. Congrats, Bob. You're awesome. Joe got to be the chillest cop though. I think maybe a lot of cops would they would do that and they would like blow smoke up their ass. I am super, super, super chill with people. I'll tell you like multiple times exactly what's going to happen. Either if you cooperate or you don't. I explain exactly why I pulled you over. I don't do that shit where like, do you know why I pulled you over? It's like, no, hi, this is my name. This is why we're being stopped. You have your stuff. And like people who are like, even like you guys see the videos of like the people online who are like, oh, I won't give you my license, which in New Jersey, if I stop you, you have to give me your license. I'll tell them in the state of New Jersey, you have to provide me your license. If you don't provide me your license, I'm going to arrest you for hindering. Okay. They yell, blah, blah, blah. Say it again. I'm going to tell you this one more time. In the state of New Jersey, you have to give me your license. If not, I'm going to arrest you for hindering, which entails me pulling you out of your vehicle. And then if they don't, then whatever has to happen happens. But like, I'll warn people in a very calm voice multiple times. And if you don't, it is what it is. But Yeah, I'm not a guy to like hammer tickets or anything like that. Like I see people, and this is just like a personal preference of mine. Like if you're going 60 and a 50 and I pull you over and write you a ticket, like, yeah, if I'm trying to get into your car for something, you look sketchy maybe, but like I go 60 and a 50. So like, I feel like a hypocrite, you know, I'm not, yeah. So I appreciate that, Dan, but I'm not like that. I don't write a lot of tickets and all that stuff. Congrats, Johnny, to you. Yeah. Good luck to Johnny. Having your third. I can't imagine 3. It's gonna happen to me. But I saw that slapping a cop video goes wrong. Man, what an idiot that guy was. I think Dano can attest, right? If he's still in here, like we're pretty nice. You know, like that's kind of what it is. We're and even people who are like douches who I have to arrest and stuff, or like domestics and stuff. Like I treat you like a human until you show me you don't need to be treated like a human. So let's see. Johnny likes his women older. Yeah, I didn't mean like high risk like that, Johnny. I think any pregnancy after 34 is considered higher risk pregnancy. Congratulations, Infrared. I think Infrared. I think I'm getting some people from like Jake's show and stuff, which is awesome because I've been on there a few times. Like I've never seen Infrared. Johnny said he's been in here, but I never really saw him. Dano, a bunch of new people in here, so I appreciate it. My warden and I have had 12 grandkids. Wow, Sluggo. That's wild. 12 grandkids. How many kids do you have though? My warden and I. That's great. Hell yeah. Let's all do it, bro. We can get to Rick's. What is that?
Quarterback.
Damn it to ask you if he's watched Hanson Any. Who is Hanson Any? Hanson, or I'm just assuming it's Hanson. Any Hanson? I don't know who Hanson is. Snowball's going. I think Gunny might be going too. Let's just hope it's not January so more can make it. I honestly like. I am completely down with like a January 2nd snow game in Pittsburgh. I like snow games. I do. Yeah, Joe threw me out like Chaz from Fresh Prince as soon as I uttered my last word. You should have seen how far that cop threw me. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Bobby's the champion of consistent callers. Yeah, Bobby. Like I said, I think Bobby's just probably one of the nicer people you ever meet. Sneakers and boots. McGovern would be nice to have back, but I think we could do better. Hopefully that Herbig gets released. Yeah, I'm with you, Sneakers and boots. If you told me right now Herbig versus McGovern, I'm going Herbig because of the anticipated scheme switch. But I think McGovern would be fine enough. Be nice to have back, but I think we could do better. Yeah, we're just specifically Herbig, I'm assuming, right? Content addicts. Always been a big fan. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, Andrew, appreciate you. 5 kids who multiply like rabbits. Well, if you have 5 kids, 12 grandkids, that's like 2.5 a kid. That's not so much, right? I'm having 3. I plan on having. Well, let's say. Let me rephrase that. My wife plans on having 3. I might be convinced after 2 if we have a boy and a girl, but we'll see. Even though I'm terrified of having a girl, just for obvious reasons. I know what I was thinking at 12, 13. I don't want somebody to be thinking about that about my daughter. I can't. I'm always doing a live of my own. Yeah, go check out Dano's show. I'll hop on there at some point. Dano, reach out or whatever, and we'll set something up for sure. The boys on Jets 24/7 were dropping you flowers. Oh, okay. I like all those. Like, we have so many good content creators, and and even if like you have your personal flavors and stuff, and I do, and other people do. I think all of our content creators, even if you don't prefer some of their content, I think without a doubt, like you can say, it seems like everybody's a good dude, right? Like whether it be Ryan, Matt, Greenbaden from that show, or Tyson, who I'm like buddies with, or Jake, or like whatever, like a lot of good dudes. Even if you don't enjoy everybody's content, which I know everybody doesn't, but like. Awesome. I would like to hear what they said. I don't know what they said or when they said it or whatever. Or like Twitter, are they on a stream now? Are they on a stream on Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday? They have so many streams now. I don't know, but I appreciate it. So I'd like to hear it or at least thank them. But Hanson is depth interior offensive lineman of ours. Got a little playing time last year, and I thought, Jake Hanson. Yeah. Dan, this is something like I'm just being completely transparent. Like I watch legitimately thousands of reps, like thousands and thousands. Like I think I showed you guys last week. I have 37 reviews cooked up right now. And each one of those reviews, I'm watching an entire season of football for those guys. So I've watched 37 seasons since the Jets season. And now to remember a very specific player, I can't. Johnny Boy, I'm just gonna bring like a bunch of PBA cards to a Jets game or something like that. But yeah, say Joe. If you're in my area, sure, dude, name drop me. I'm okay with that. There was a guy who's working construction for us, like on one of our. I think they're like replacing the pipes in town, and he walked up and said, "Oh, I actually watch your show." I was like, "Oh, awesome, dude." I was talking to him for a little bit. Yeah, if you guys are ever in my neck of the woods, drop my name. I'm okay with it. And if you're an asshole, I have to come and like fight with you or arrest you. That'd be funny. That'd be a good time. Like, oh my God, I tough day at work. I had to arrest Johnny. That would suck. But I have a boy and a girl, but I'm surprised I got another girl. I wouldn't be mad at 3 boys in a row. I'm terrified of 12-year-old girl. Like if I could skip the ages of 12 to 24, I would be okay with having a girl. But teenage girls and college girls scare me. And it's not even like I'm not trying to be like morbid here or anything like that. In my line of work, I guess I just see a lot of kind of screwed up shit, but like not in my line of work. Like, where was that girl? Was it in like Georgia? She went to Georgia and she was on a jog and she got clubbed by somebody and she was like dead in the woods. Like that shit happens, bro. Like it happens much more so to females because there's not a lot of guys who are, attacking dudes. Like there's not a lot of dude on dude violence when you're jogging. Like I'm sure, unless I guess Jeffrey Epstein, right? He was waiting for a dude with a bat in the woods, but like, different, not as frequently. Wait till Christmas in 20 years. The thing about Christmas now, Sluggo, is like, what it is. I think you're a little bit older. Like you used to have to go to the mall and go to all these stores now. Like my Christmas and entailing like a lot of shopping and shit is my wife ordering a lot of stuff off of Amazon. So like, yeah, I have the annoyance of getting rid of boxes because I can only put out one recycling bin every 2 weeks. So I have to put some shit in my truck and drive down to the recycling yard. That's not so bad. I think everyone brings a certain aspect I appreciate. Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, exactly. Everybody has their own flavors. Great show from Nick. I appreciate that. Again, new people I'm not seeing before. So I think some of my rounds pre-draft are helping me out. So I definitely appreciate it, guys. Joe, I like Robbie and Wayne. I wish I could talk to him sometime. They might do call-ins. Bobby. If they do, I'll make sure to let you know if they do call-ins, and you can talk to Wayne. I think actually, if you sign up for the website, Bobby, which I don't know if you're ever going to do, but if you do, I think promo code 80 and you get a Wayne Corbett autographed something, I believe. I don't know. Tuesday about your breakdowns and how chill you are. Oh, okay. Thank you to them. I gotta text Ryan and let him know that I heard about that. Joe, I know it's a long shot, but you getting on Icon Pass. I know it's a long shot, but you getting an Icon Pass. I don't know what an Icon Pass is. Never too early for the little one to start snow sports on by mountain. Oh, bro. Sneakers to boots. That is good information, dude, because I haven't been in as much as I want to. But I snowboard and I ski. I usually snowblade, which I don't have my own shit, but apparently you can't rent snowblades anymore. But like the short skis that are like, I don't know, like yay big. I like to rip on snowblades. So if you're up by Mountain Creek, dude, like I like to do that stuff. So maybe I gotta hip Sneakers to Boots one day and go snowboarding / snowblading with Sneakers to Boots. 3 sons. I'm okay with 3 sons. The only problem with 3 sons is the sons leave you, the daughters stay. So like I would like 1, but I just gotta shut my brain off from 12 to 25. So for my age, like 43 to 55, I just gotta be the most chill. I just gotta be, I don't know, get prescribed Xanax or something, and just every time she walks in with a boyfriend, just pop one. I don't know what I gotta do, but I'm gonna have trouble, especially again with what I do for work. So I'm 66, and I really noticed the younger Jet fan frustration. I've seen the 69 Super Bowl as an 11-year-old. You younger fans are resilient as hell. Hats off. But like, even, and like, I don't want to speak for you, Sluggo, here, but if you are 60, so you were 11 years old for the Super Bowl. Like, did you even appreciate it at that point? Right. Because like the Devils won in what are their years? It's like 98, 97, 99, like 2002 or 2001 or something like that. Like I was 8 or 9, so I didn't really appreciate it. So I feel like I didn't really like watch it. So I don't know how much you appreciate the Super Bowl, but I would say newer Jets fans, man, like if you became a Jets fan in 2011, like what a rough start to your tenure of being a fan. Okay, let's see. Talking to him for me. Yeah, of course, Bobby, I got you. Nick, we'll throw you on really quickly just because I gotta jump off in a couple of minutes because my wife will get pissed. But what's going on, Nick?
Good shit, man. No, I never been on the show, dude. Great stuff. I listen in. Great stuff, man.
Is it? Are you a
what
first
county
time,
in New Jersey you from?
Yeah,
first time.
County.
Yeah. Mom. Oh, you're south. You're south. Yeah.
Central. I was. Yeah. So like I'm like right at the start of the shore. Like where like it's like the back of the boot of New Jersey. That's where I'm at. So your first time listening.
So how did you counter that like Philly? You know how it is. You get to that like south because you know how like once you get like I'm in Central. Like now I live in Central. But I'm a North Jersey guy. So like I'm a Jet guy from North Jersey. But like
okay.
South Jersey, it's like Philly, and then you get very murky.
So where in Central Jersey are you, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm in Somerset County.
Somerset County, okay, and you were from North Jersey, so like I feel like people who aren't from Jersey, and like maybe even from North Jersey, I feel like people split Jersey into two different sections. It's either you're North or you're South, but I'm kind of like right in the middle. So like there was some Eagles fans and stuff like that, but like just as many Giants fans. So I feel like I was straddling the middle, so I didn't get like captured into calling this sub a hoagie.
Your wife's not going to let you get off here. This debate's going to get going if you start throwing that Central Jersey debate in this. But there is a legit Central Jersey. Like it's such a different vibe in the like moving here. It's a whole different thing.
So as a guy who is a North Jersey guy, who I'm assuming before you got to Central Jersey, you said, oh, there's only North Jersey or South Jersey. Now that you're in Central Jersey, you could attest for it exists, right?
Well, wait. Please don't pigeonhole me. Don't pigeonhole me yet. So I could attest to that. It's just like, it's a mix. And it's like one of those things, it's like a melting pot. Like, and I feel like New York is kind of like that way too, but like, it's just a melting pot. And like, you see a different, like it's very segmented in different areas. So like, it's just one of those things I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. It's just, once you start living, you're like, oh yeah, there is a Central, it's just a different culture vibe. It's just one of those things. Cause you just have a mix of everything.
Me being from my area, and I've been within a 15-minute radius for my entire 31 years of life. It feels like people from like, to me personally, it feels like North Jersey is basically New York. Like if you're going to Hoboken, any of those places, like you might as well just be in New York. You're in a city, and they all have the same vibe. And then South Jersey is all Philly fans and like the Hicks and like Cherry Hill and all that stuff. So like I don't fit into either of them. So I've always thought Central Jersey was a thing.
See, that's the problem. And this is what I hate about like and like not to be political or anything, but like this is what I hate about it. It's like you pay like no matter how close. If you're within like a 70-mile radius of New York City, you pay the New York City tax, and like you're gonna pay $20 for a drink no matter what you get. It's a beer or a mixture. It doesn't matter. It's just like I hate that about this area. Like, but it's just. That's the reality of what we live in. It's the extension of New York City,
So, Nick, I want to add, and before I let you go, because I do got to run upstairs. But first game of the year, are you a guy who goes to games? Are you a season ticket holder or anything like that?
I used to be for 10 years. Yeah.
Okay.
I was for 10 years, and then just the commitment of going out there for the whole day and tailgate, because the experience for me, it was the experience of tailgating and having that whole. Whole day experience of being with everybody and your friends and family. So I couldn't be able to commit to that. So, but yeah, for 10 years, that was my life. And now it's just on Sundays, I obviously watch it at home, my friends and family.
So what are your preferred game for that opening one? Are you a guy like, hey, give me San Fran right off the bat. I want to punch them in the mouth. Do you want the soft landing spot? Do you want the Bills like rematch?
I'll take the win. Honestly.
Okay.
It's one of those things. I think it's a marathon, not a sprint. So take the wins when we can get them. Let the team build chemistry and go on late in season and peak when the time's right.
So last question before I let you go, Nick, and I appreciate you. You said first time listener, first time caller too as well. Awesome.
No, I listen in. No, okay. You got a great show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it. So first time caller, which I haven't done calls in 2-3 years. Like everybody's kind of first time. Holes in the roster. Something I also have been asking. Like where do you want by the time I take Collins in a month from now and you call in again in a month? Like what do you assume? Obviously making assumptions. What do you want the Jets to do with that? Like do you want them to add a receiver, interior offensive line, D tackle? Some people talk about Calais Campbell. Do you want a safety? Like where are you at with the roster?
You talked about like Gibson, and I'm like, I don't think Gibson's that bad. Like I think as a special teamer, he's good. So like as a fifth, sixth wide receiver, I think he's fine. So I view it like this: injury position. So like if Williams goes down, you have Lazard. I know he played like dog shit last year. I get it, but he's a number 2 tall-bodied wide receiver. I don't know the XY, whatever it is, but so you have that position filled. So when you look at a slot wide receiver, you have Gibson. Now you have Corley. So the depth is there. So I'm not necessarily as worried about wide receiver as everyone else is. I agree with you. Interior offensive line. If you find someone, I don't know what veterans available, but like Herwig getting released, I like that option. I don't know if he got picked up, but like I like that option. Just pick up another veteran interior offensive line. I think they're fine. And then like Max Mitchell, could he play guard? Maybe in a pinch. So
yeah, he played a little bit later last year. Just unfortunately, he played there. He struggled. And then in terms of Gibson, and I'll throw it back to you and see if you have anything else to say. But the Gibson thing, like I think he was elevated in Jets fans' minds because of what happened in week 1, and we kind of like appreciated him, and I kind of like rolled over. But like in terms of the rest of the season, there wasn't really many flashes, and I think he had, I think it was 5 fumbles. Right, he fumbled versus the Bills. In terms of punt returns, he fumbled versus the Chiefs, the Eagles, and then there was 2 other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. So like, I'm not saying I think he could be a guy, but just because he hasn't proven to me that he is yet, I'm saying, and that's why I'm saying it's more of a want than a need.
No, fair point.
I want the MVS. I don't think they need an MVS just because I'd rather be safer than sorry. But I completely like see your opinion. Hey, if you think you've seen something from Gibson, you want to roll out with a young guy, let him develop. Then hey, obviously they can do that.
I think more like you're looking at like wide receiver. Like if you go wide receiver 6 is a gunner, so it's a special teams player. So Gibson kind of fits 2 positions, like slot wide receiver, punt returner. He's not a gunner, but at least he's a special teams player that fills a void. So that's kind of how I see it. Yeah, exactly. So he felt like if Corley goes down, you still have Gibson there, so you have other options. In terms of the other positions, safety, yeah, I could see maybe if a veteran safety is still available, like Diggs. I don't see Simmons being signed before we would ever he's going to sign probably in June before any need would happen. We're going to give Key like an opportunity to win some sort of depth job. So
to prove,
so those 2 positions, I think safety and interior offensive line are the only thing that's left to fill,
Yeah, no, I can see that point. Safety, like you said, Simmons is probably signed soon, and I think that's a good point. Like, hey, are the Jets going to? And I think they should like let JBC and Key compete, and if they earn the spot as a 4, then they earn the spot as a 4. Like that's fantastic. But Nick, I appreciate the call. Hopefully, I hear from you again in a month. I got to run, or I'm going to start getting some strays thrown at me. You know what it is. So
I hear you.
I appreciate you, Nick, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, I legitimately appreciate everybody. First calling in probably 2 or 3 years, and I was like, not necessarily like we had, I don't know, 10 caller, not even, maybe 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But Nick and Sneakers to Boots and Bobby and Liam and everybody else who called in, who I can't remember off the top of my head because that would be impressive, and I'm not that impressive. I appreciate you guys. I'll do it again in a month from now. Again, I'm going to do like a 4-week rotation of solo show where I'm just hit the chat. I'm going to do a call-in show. I'm going to do a show with Nania. I'm going to do a show with Sabo. And then if my evil plan formulates and I get that 3rd co-host, then I think that 4th show must do call-ins. I think it worked out. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.